This episode of the podcast is brought to you by HRH Combat Arms. They can turn your vision into reality. They specialize in gunsmithing and Cerakoting. Your Cerakote specialist is Air Force veteran and retired police sergeant Paul Ware, a.k.a. the Sarge. He can Cerakote your firearms, auto parts, tools, even your sports equipment. And then your master gunsmith is Marine veteran Steve Miller. This veteran-owned business is located at 5025 Saunders Suite, 103, Fort Worth, Texas, 76119. You can call them at 682-304-0363, and you can find them online at www.hrhcombatarms.com. That's www.hrhcombatarms.com. All right, here we are again. Two cops, one donut. I'm with Brandi Camper from Humanizing the Badge. How are you, ma'am?
Hello, I'm good. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Are you still nervous about this?
No.
I didn't think you would be.
No.
Once you got into it.
Yeah, I've known you long enough, so.
Yeah, I figured you'd be all right. How'd you like that intro music?
I love it.
So that is, do you remember Joey Spraggins?
Yeah.
His dad, Keith Spraggins, was big motor jock, like set the record for most tickets like in a day, in a month, in a week, in a year. So
that's him playing your intro?
That's not him, but their friend, Joey's family friend, Vincent, and I can never say his last name, so I don't say it, but Vincent S. He made the song for the show. That's him playing.
You're like fancy. You're
so that's deal. That's a Fort Worth native that's been playing the guitar since he was old enough to hold one.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. I reached out to him. I was like, hey, dude, can you make me an intro song? Because you are like the best guitar player I've ever heard.
I probably just would have stolen like a small clip off of, like those little audio clips off Google or something.
Like WAP or something like that, or WAP, however they say. I know that you.
Why is that the first song you think of?
Because I know you.
I do not listen to that.
Lies.
Yeah. I'm pretty bad.
That's what
I have eclectic music taste, though.
I'm with you because I listen to everything.
Me too.
Everything.
I could be like Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, and then it might be Cardi B the next second.
Right.
Like, you never really know.
Yeah, like a lot of people are, they're not surprised. I grew up in Flint, so they automatically expect me to listen to rap music. But wherever I go, I listen to what's popular in that area. And I like Red Dirt. Robert Dowdy, he got me into Red Dirt, working on the property crimes team. And I'm like, hey, it's good stuff. And then he also got me into metalcore. I think that's what it's called.
I don't know.
It's scary music.
I'm the terrible person that knows, like, I like all music, but I'm terrible with lyrics.
Yes, I'm the same. Oh, wait, no. I take that back. I'm good with lyrics, but I am terrible with knowing who sang it.
I'm both. Oh. I'm the person that will also sing
the wrong words.
the wrong words every time.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I'm just like, please shut up, because that's not the lyrics. And I'm like, it is today.
Right.
Like, it makes me feel good inside my soul. And you know who hates me the worst about it is my kids.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're a little like, they listen to the words. You got to be careful. Yeah. They're like, did you hear that cuss word? I'm like, no, because I'm not listening to the words. I'm singing my own.
Oh, you don't swear around your kids?
Stuff. No.
Oh, my God. My wife hates it. She's like, you don't even know you're swearing around them. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
You do? You drop like...
Oh, I drop bombs.
You do?
Yeah, not all the time. I'm pretty good about it.
I feel like it's my mother that did this to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, mine is more of like the military and the police world.
Yeah, I mean, I feel
desensitized me, and I'm just like, it's just a word. I don't care anymore.
I am that way, but I feel like it's different too with a mom. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, my mom was pretty raunchy with me as far as language.
I remember my mom never cussed around me.
I believe that. What about your mom's a saint.
Ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I get around people like your dad, and I'm like, my mom doesn't cuss, and he's like, the hell?
Right? What mother are we referring to?
Yeah, she doesn't cuss around me at all.
I know. That's the vision I have of her. Is a saint.
And still, I'm like, I can say like, I've said ass around my mom. I'll be 40 and I'll say ass, and my mom's like, Brandi, Nicole, you were not raised that way. I'm like, what?
What? Really? I know. Exactly. Yeah. No, your mom's awesome though.
Thank you.
So before we get into all of our stuff, tell the people about you. I could brag about you. I mean, you have so many skills in everything except ruck marching, but we won't get into that. So I'm gonna let you give your resume. Okay. Tell us how we got to this point, this 40-year point.
I am a Christian and a mom and a daughter and a friend and a sister and a advocate.
Okay.
That's kind of a hard question to answer. Like, who are you in a nutshell? How much time do we have? Like,
until my shoddy equipment runs out of space. So.
I've done a lot, so it's hard to.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran. I joined the Army when I was 17. I was in the Army between active duty and reserve time, 11 years. I got out of the Army and became a police officer. There's a little bit of an overlap there.
Okay.
But let me back up. I was a medic in the Army, and then I went to nursing school, and I was working at John Petersmith as a nurse, and I went on a ride out with the police department. And we can get into that in a minute because you know how that is.
I know.
So I did a ride out with the cops, and by the end of it, I was like, holy crap. Like, I had been missing the Army, and when I went on my ride out, I was like, I didn't realize this is what I've been missing.
Isn't that weird with our parents both being cops?
I never had an interest.
I knew I was going to be in law enforcement, but I looked down on police work. Like, I was like, well, city cop stuff is, that's peasant stuff. Like, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, well, that's what my dad does, and he's settling for the bare minimum. And I'm like, I'm going to be FBI or ATF, and then, I know.
Yeah.
Dumbass. Like, idiot. I know. It's like one of those things.
Like, what?
Yeah, you didn't know what you didn't know.
Yeah.
And then I get into the career field and I realize it's the complete opposite. Like, the city cops in a big city do all the stuff that you dream to do, and the ATF and the FBI.
You were watching too much TV.
It was.
Yeah.
It was TV. That's the only perception I had of those positions. And I'm like, oh, FBI is a shit.
And there's nothing wrong with them. It's just that TV kind of portrays.
There's a little wrong with them. Christina Fabrata.
No,
I don't know.
You're gonna name drop people.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to back up though, because
She knows I'm joking.
People don't understand our, like, what we talk about our parents and our mom and our dad.
Yeah.
But our parents, my mom and your dad, were partners.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get into that part.
Yeah, you got to explain it because we're just going to keep talking around it.
Okay, so when I was a kid, my parents were sinners and they didn't marry. They had me out of wedlock. I'm a bastard. So
that's why you cuss so much.
It is.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah, thanks. No one loved me. I have daddy issues. So
don't we all?
Always chasing the dad I never had.
That's why we're here.
I know.
Don't get me started. That's a whole other episode.
I think I've had quite a few mental health specialists reach out to me about wanting to be on the show. Maybe they saw something.
Maybe they're trying
in me
to do
that
an intervention.
Yes.
It's not really a podcast. They're just going to show up and there's going to be a bunch of people sitting around.
Yeah, Eric, we've been meaning to talk to you for a while
Your
now.
wife's on the couch. Hey, we're here because we love you.
Yeah, we did this. We let you do this podcast as the last straw. That was.
We've been listening and we're taking notes. Like.
Yeah. So, growing up, mom stayed in Flint. Dad moved down to Texas. They just weren't compatible people. Great parents separately, but they just weren't compatible. So they never married. And then came down here, and I didn't have friends to go talk to or anything like that. But my dad and your mom were basically work husband and wife.
Yeah.
And Dad's like, well, you're going to go hang out with Brandi and her brothers and go chill with them and their friends. And I was like, well, no shit. So that's what I would do when I come down. It would either, you weren't in the picture as much because you were a girl and girls suck. So at that age.
Squeeze me.
At that age.
Yeah.
You know, girls weren't cool. And
well, you weren't very cool either.
Yeah, I wasn't. I was not cool. I'm still working on it. I'm getting cooler. Yeah. It's easier to be cool around people that don't know you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Like when we're sitting across from each other, I'm like, what are you going to brag on me? Like, you knew me when I was like 10.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You're not cool if you've known somebody since you were 10. I wonder if like big celebrities are like that. Like people that knew like big fancy celebrities like when they were 10.
Yeah. If you knew Keanu, I bet Keanu's always been cool though.
That's probably true.
I think he's one of those guys. I saw a video of him on a subway and
I saw that.
He was sitting and a lady gets in there and he gives up his seat and he doesn't make a big deal about it.
He was on the subway in the first place?
Right, yeah. What was he doing on mass transit? Yeah.
Like he chose to take the subway. He didn't have to do that.
I'm like, you're the one.
You're the chosen one.
Yeah, right.
Neo, why are you on the subway?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So maybe he was on that train that goes back and forth between.
It was a glitch that he was even there.
It wasn't really him.
What are we even talking about?
I don't know.
So yeah, our parents were partners.
Yes.
And They were on the bike unit together and everything.
Yep.
I had no interest in being a cop. Like,
Really?
I love them, and I can remember our uniform from being young, and, you know, my mom would give me the job of putting like all the buttons on our uniform. And I knew how to do like put together a Fort Worth uniform when I was like 10. Right. But, I never had any interest until the ride out. And then I rode out with this guy, and he, of course, runs code to everything.
He's trying to impress you.
It's so worked.
Yeah.
How cheesy is that? Yeah. Like, he's like, oh, you know, we have 3 priorities of calls, and on the priority ones, especially back then, you could just run code whenever you kind of felt like it, right? So
explain what running code is.
Yeah, so that's lights and sirens.
Yeah,
the
fun stuff.
Yeah, so we had this guy, and he's like, now as I've been a police officer for a long time, I'm like, bro, you do not have to run code that many times. There ain't no way. He just did it just to make it fun, you know? And so I come home and I'm like, Mom, I think I want to be a cop. And she's like, no, you're going to be a doctor. Like, don't do it.
Did she not know you were doing a ride along?
She knew. She's the one that set it up.
She thought it would.
I guess she just never thought I would want to be law enforcement. Like, I guess she just.
What the fuck?
Yeah, she was just trying
How
to like.
How did she not know?
I don't know. I didn't
I
even
know your personality well enough that I've been like, she's going to get hooked.
I didn't even know. I did not know. I was like, oh, it'll be okay. And then I came home and I'm like, oh, that was awesome. And she's like, no, go be a doctor. And I'm like, I think I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And it was just a persistent nagging. And she was like, fine, I don't want to hear it in 10 years when you want to go be a doctor still. And I'm like, that's never going to happen.
Right?
Yeah. So I went to the academy.
Look at you now. But
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's the backstory on our parents. And then you did a ride-in and you got hooked. And then, so that was, you did your Army time, active duty. How long were you active?
4.
So you did your 4.
Yeah. And then I switched to the reserves, went back and got an ASI as a LVN nurse.
Okay.
Right. And then came back and was a reservist and working at JPS as an LVN.
Why'd you get out? Was it medical or was it?
No, after I did 11, I got pregnant with my first baby. And I was just like, I just want to be with him.
Okay.
Which is, now looking back, I'm like, oh, I could have been done.
Right.
Right? Isn't that the way it always is?
Yep.
I'm like, I look at him and I'm like, ugh.
That's part of the reason I'm still in. I don't want that regret.
I know, but I could not imagine, which makes me appreciate our service members more, because I looked at him and I was like, I cannot imagine like leaving him and coming back to like a walking, talking, toddling.
Yeah.
You know, like that, those young ages. If you're gone a year,
you wouldn't have had to worry about that if you would have joined the Air Force.
I know, that was my first problem.
Yeah.
Why did I join the Army?
I don't know.
I don't know either. And that is a true stereotype. It is really true. I got stationed at Fort Hood, my first duty station.
Oh my God. That place is a nightmare right now. They've had all sorts of problems. It probably wasn't that way back then.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's all relative. So I look back and I'm like, we had a great time. I don't know. But I was 18. I mean, what is the substandard living condition when you're 18? Like, I mean,
that's compared to the way I lived, because I didn't join right at 18. I joined at like 24. So, my living conditions at 18, they dramatically went up once I joined the service at 24.
Let me tell you, we did not know until we met a couple of Air Force guys.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went over there before we went out, and we're like, what is this? It looks like a hotel. I couldn't even believe it's on the same base.
Welcome to lodging.
And then they got substandard living pay for even living on our base.
Yes. That's right.
Like, we're sorry you even have to be around these peasants.
We get around and just looking down.
Yes, like these scum of the earth army people, and then they're paying them extra to just be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ew, they have salt stains on their uniforms.
Yeah, ew, you guys are gross. Sweating and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we went...
Where's the bikes?
Yeah, we went in, and there was like... They each had a door that shut. You know, like we were living in one big open room.
Right.
Yeah. With like a shower curtain. Like it's all like you put your wall lockers in the middle and then a shower curtain and like, and then we go in there and it's like a legit hotel. Yeah. They had like a nice refrigerator and all this stuff. I'm like, what is this? That was the first time I knew I
try to tell people what opens their eyes is the chow hall. That's usually the first.
I've never been in an Air Force chow hall.
Oh my God. Like, if you were to go into any chow hall now, you're going to be like, But from then, you know, like you didn't know what you didn't know. That was like the difference between the Air Force chow hall and Army Marines is night and day.
Listen, we were so unhealthy back then. We were so dumb. We would eat fast food. I don't even know. Like I don't know how I didn't weigh 250 pounds back then, because maybe just because I was 18.
And your output was probably a lot higher.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
Like I was minimally shuffling every morning.
Yeah. I mean,
more than you.
Yeah, it's probably
you
true.
were riding an automatic scooter around PT.
We actually had Segways before the world knew about them.
The Air Force invented the Segway.
And they didn't even have the handlebars, so you just walked around like
together, two of you
just,
on one.
I don't holding on,
loving each other.
Yes.
Yeah,
resting my head on.
It's a true stereotype.
It is.
I'm sorry, like the Air Force are this like.
Who is that TikTok guy? Have you seen the TikTok guy? He does all the branches.
Okay, listen, I love him.
Oh my!
With the space work.
Yeah,
yes.
He's got the finger hands.
You guys, we have to find his name now.
That guy's awesome.
Have you noticed? I don't know if you noticed this, because I just talked to one of my girlfriends about this last night. Have you noticed that every time he is Army, he's wearing a hat that says Daddy?
No.
You gotta look at it.
I didn't look at that.
I think he must have been Army.
That's
and
funny.
I'm like, are we just gonna ignore the fact that every time he's the Army guy, it says Daddy on his hat? Like every time.
That's awesome. I just, you know me, I just got on TikTok for this, and I'm trying to learn it all, but that was the first one somebody shared with me, and I was like, okay,
he is hilarious.
Let me go down this rabbit hole. He's like watering the flowers, and he's drowning them as a Marine.
Listen, he does, for anybody that hasn't seen him, and I don't know I wish I knew his name.
Yeah.
He does all the different branches doing different daily activities.
even the Coast Guard, which is very nice of him.
Like eating cereal.
Yeah. No offense, Brad Davis. Sorry.
Yeah. He does like how to eat cereal as each branch.
Yeah. That's great. I love it.
He's
So
hilarious.
I'm learning the TikTok stuff, and you're helping me out. Thank God. Because I don't know. How the hell did you learn it so quick? You've been on it a minute, though.
I got on TikTok because I hang out with the guys from Humanizing the Badge.
And they got you going on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did not do anything on TikTok that was amazing. I just had the right people in my videos, I guess, and their followers came to my page. It's kind of like I'm riding their coattails, okay?
I will tell you this, since you shared, I can't keep up. Like, there's so many likes and new people coming to the page, so that's helping.
Good. We're gonna get this out. We'll get you some followers.
And then the doctor guy from Humanizing the Badge called or sent me a message like, hey, when your episode's done with Brandi, send it to me. I'll share it.
Really?
So that's cool.
Yeah. You love him.
Yeah. I had a long conversation with him, just talking back and forth.
The Humanizing the Badge crew, all of those guys are so amazing. And you want to talk about social media experts. There are things that go on social media that you don't even realize until you're hanging out with them and they show you. Analytics and
I'm trying.
Oh,
I get annoyed by all the little notifications I'm getting on the page. I'm like, how do I stop this stuff? Like, I don't mind when somebody has a comment. Like, that's my favorite. When somebody talks, I look at all of those.
Yeah.
But when it's a like, or it's somebody just joined the page, or somebody's following the page, it gives me a notification for all those. And I go to the notification thing, and it says it's turned off.
Have you looked on your laptop instead of your phone?
No.
Look on your laptop.
Son of a bitch.
See, I'm going to help you.
It's always something.
Yep. And then it's like, these guys are so professional at it. You know, like once you get a certain amount of followers, they will show you analytics for like what time of day your page is most popular, with who, when to post.
Oh.
Like, there's a lot that goes into it with some of these people. I know.
Jeez. Well.
Good luck.
Well, while I'm thinking about it, so how do you like these new mic holders? Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, because these Gator Frameworks sent these to me. Yeah. So
nice
they rep Joe Rogan.
Really?
I'm like, what's up? So
y'all are like the same now.
Yeah. So close. So no, they actually the phone holder with the light, I think they call those ring lights. They gave those to me for free, and then I'm what they call an affiliate. I'm not a sponsored person by them. I'm an affiliate. So they give me stuff at cost.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
they're waiting to see how you're going to do.
And they're very honest about it. They're like, no, we like the direction you're going, and we like what you're doing. We like the message and everything. We need your numbers to be up. And I'm like, oh, I'm not that guy. Like, I'm not the
but you have to
subscribe.
You have to be patient though, too.
And it's the snowball effect is a real thing right now, and that's what's kind of cool. I expect it to really turn into like an avalanche with you.
Oh gosh, don't.
Girl, you don't know how many people have been like, oh my God, I can't wait for this episode. Yeah.
I will feel terrible if it flops. So if you're watching.
Won't.
You have to share it because I feel terrible.
It can't be bad. I'm telling you, and it was mostly females.
I love my women.
Yeah.
I have more women followers than I do men too.
Yeah, a lot of females were, direct messaging like, "Thank you so much for having Officer Brandi. Thank you so much for having." Yeah, so I was like, "What the fuck?" I knew you were a big deal, but
I like the women that follow me, and I have a lot of younger, like the younger audience too.
Yeah,
that's why I'm real careful about what I post and everything.
I gotcha. So
you'll get there. You should do a giveaway.
What am I going to give away?
I don't know.
I can't even afford the equipment I'm trying to get for the show.
Well, some people, we need some stuff to give away.
I was like, what do I give away?
We're going to give away
this
something.
This bottle's almost gone. Does anybody want this bottle of Novacek 84?
We will figure out something.
Okay. I'm a dummy. I told you. Like, people are giving me way more credit for intelligence than I have. I'm trying to figure this out.
But this is good what you're doing.
No, I agree. The idea is good. I like this. This is what I want. I want to bridge the gap. I want people to understand you. I want them to understand me. I want to understand them, and I want to talk. This isn't just going to have cops on here. It's not just going to have first responders. It's not just. I'm going to have teachers because they're very involved, and they are the first front line before we start reaching our bad guys. And you know that. So, that's something I want to open people's eyes to. I want community leaders that maybe don't like us that much. I want them on here. I want, like your friend that got falsely arrested for 24 years.
Yes.
I want him on here.
Uh-huh.
I want his perspective.
His story is really good too.
What's his name?
Aaron Dyson.
Aaron Dyson.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Dyson.
Aaron Dyson, if you're listening.
Yes.
I need you on the show, buddy.
We do need to get him on here.
Yes.
His story, he did commit a crime. He is very honest about it. But back in the 90s, the gang stuff was really big.
Colors.
I'm telling you. Yeah. So they charged him as being a gang member. Well, it's a long story, but he got more time because they said he was a gang member, and then they went
documented?
Back. No, not at the time. They went back and found that it was not right, but he spent 24 years in prison. Can you imagine that?
No.
He just got out. Got out. So there were no phones, like no cell phones. He didn't even know what a cell phone was. Like they had to show him. Like he totally skipped over the Nokia, like brick phone, all of it. Like, oh my God. And they handed him a smartphone, and he's like, "What is all this? Social media didn't exist."
So sad. Just thinking. I told you when we talked about it, I get teary eyed.
I'm telling you,
that's so sad.
He's 41, and he's like, "I just hope I can hurry up and find someone because I want to have kids."
I don't want to think about it. It's so sad to me.
It is sad,
isn't it? 24 years of your life.
Yeah, and you know what? Away. He was the one that went through and got all of the certificates and degrees and did everything the right way and was patient. And the reason that he was locked up to begin with is he shot someone, and the guy that he shot had killed Aaron's friend.
Okay.
So backing up, this guy killed Aaron's friend in front of Aaron, like shot him in the head dead. Okay. Aaron went and shot the guy, the original murderer.
Okay.
And hit him, I think, in the ankle. I don't remember. But Aaron got more time than the murderer. The murderer got out and has been out for like 10 years.
And advocated for him?
Yes. And went back and said, "Why is he still locked up? Like, I'm good. Like, we're good. We're square. Like, let him out." And it took another like 10 years to get him out. Damn. You really got to have him on.
Yeah.
He's very well spoken, and he's going to advocate for some of these people that have been over sentenced as juveniles.
That's good. So,
you take these young teen men that make these terrible mistakes. And of course, justice needs to be served. I'm not going to get into all that, but 24 years.
That's nuts. I mean, is the state going to compensate him for?
I doubt it. They called it.
He has a GoFundMe or something.
He's not on probation or parole or anything now. So he's working. I'm super proud of him.
Because it's part of the problem with the system that I've seen. You got these guys that get put in prison and they get a felony record, and one of the points of going to jail is rehabilitation, prison. Right. We want them to be a productive member of society when they get out, but we don't allow them to be a productive member of society,
right? Because
they have a felony record.
Well, and I think that that's something that is like a huge issue, right? Everybody wants defund the police and all this and that, and I'm like, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face,
right?
You need the arrest to be made. But I think the general population may not understand or really understand how we need like justice reform all the way.
Yeah.
Like all the way.
Yeah.
Not just.
Not the face of everything. Police
Right.
are they're the easy go-to because we're who you see. Right. What you're not seeing is these failings that we see with the criminal justice system as it gets past us.
Yes.
And I see it all the time when I like you just said, a murderer gets out, 10 years, whatever it was, where I've got a dude that has been a habitual house burglar. Like, to me, that's the ultimate, like, one of the ultimate invasions of privacy. You came into my home.
Yeah.
And that dude has 3, 4 home invasions. He still I'm dealing with him, annually, which I shouldn't see. In my opinion, I shouldn't see that dude for a long time. And then I see a progressive propensity for violence. Like, it's escalating. And then all of a sudden, here he is. He's robbing people. Yeah. And for those that aren't aware, burglary and robbery, those are two different things. Robbery is from the actual person where they feel like their life's in danger and stuff like that, or they're hurt during the act of theft, basically. I'm not a thesaurus or a dictionary.
You're good.
So
You're good.
something like that.
Burglary being property and robbery being from the actual person.
Yes, that's an easier way. Thank you.
Robbery is burglary of a person.
Man, that's right. Right?
Why didn't they teach us that, Nathan?
No, like the Hamburglar.
Yeah.
He was actually robbing people, wasn't he?
Yes.
Should have been the ham robber, burg robber. I don't know.
Yeah.
So stupid.
But I feel like people get mad at the police. Like, all we're doing is making the arrests that are in the books. Like, if you don't like the arrests that are being made or the offenses that are being made, don't be mad at me.
Right. Yeah. And when it's something simple like that, we still get flack for it. Yeah. I get it for things like George Floyd. Like, that's very inflammatory if you watch the video, stuff like that. I get the outrage for stuff like that. But the day-to-day stuff,
I feel like people would be surprised at how much your average police officer agrees with some of the things that they're saying too.
Yeah. And they can't say anything about it.
Yes.
That's why I try to talk all the time about this show. Like, I'm towing the line. I can't mention where I work. I can't talk about my work. I can only mention generalizations of things. Because if I say something that they don't agree with, and it's not, they're a corporation in themselves. Like, they've got their own reputation to uphold.
And it's a dangerous thing for us to speak for an entire department because there's so many varying opinions, personal opinions within a department in itself.
And I'm supposed to be objective, non-biased about anything with the police department. So I get it. And the show, in my opinion, is worth the risk, but I'm very kind and I'm very smart about what I say, or I try to be very controlled, I should say. I shouldn't say smart, but try to be controlled about what I say because I love where I work. And I agree with them on most things. So I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't remember either.
I don't either. God.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a complicated, when you talk about justice reform, you're going to get.
Yeah. Down rabbit holes.
We could, you could just do a whole series on just that.
I know. I do have 2 prosecutors coming. Yeah. So that would be fun to get their perspective on things. But so let's get off of that. Let's go to what do you let's talk about first your police career. So you got into police work.
I got into police work.
How long did you do that for?
So total almost 14 years. Okay. Yeah. And I'm a reservist now.
I didn't know that.
I got approved.
You're like, okay. I won't say anything because I don't want any reservists watching this to get the wrong idea.
I'm a reservist now.
It's funnier because if you knew how she was in the streets, like that's the last thing I would expect. Yeah. So.
I did almost 14, and then I decided to stay on as a reservist. Because I love what I do.
Yeah. Reservists don't get paid, guys.
I'm just volunteering. I'm a volunteer police officer. Yeah. For the city that I work for now, which is my honor. I'm glad they approved me. Yeah, right. Because they could have been like, "Nah, fam." I would have been like, "We're glad to get rid of you."
Well, technically, your mom still works there, so they're just doing you a favor.
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
So I want to bring that part up. Y'all don't understand what it's like. So you said you didn't want to be a cop. I did not want to work at the same department as my dad. And the reason being was by his second year, he was already the hero of the department because of his incident, his OIS.
Well, and your dad is amazing.
He's cool.
No, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And he's really funny.
Shut up.
He's a great guy.
He is. He's good.
Yeah.
So,
oh, you know he's going to watch.
I know.
He loves you.
Yeah. So, no, so that's a big shadow. And I didn't want to come into a department and have to fight that fight of, well, you got here because of your dad. You got there because of your dad. And I knew that my dad was well respected, at least with the people that mattered. You know, he may not have been well received by the upper Ivory Tower folks, but for his troops, they loved him.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's what matters. Doing well for the people that work for you. So I was nervous. I shouldn't say I was nervous. I just didn't want that. I wanted to make it on my own. And then, you know, when we have our family reunions or we get together, you know, how's it going with you? Oh, I'm doing great. I'm a detective here now. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Well, then the money where I was at in Michigan was terrible. I was making like $28,000 a year.
God.
I could have been a Walmart manager making the same amount.
That's not worth it.
No. Well, they did give you free dry cleaning. So.
What a random perk.
Right, I know.
That's an Air Force perk, right?
Yeah,
there.
it is an Air Force perk. So I applied all over the nation because I had moved out of. I was used to being away from Michigan now, so I moved out of this. You know, I would have went anywhere that was civil service.
Yeah.
And the place that I got hired just happened to be the first place to
no.
hire me. I got hired by Michigan State Police and had an academy date set up, and Fort Worth hired me at the same time. And I looked at the money difference. And it was a big...
And cost of living has got to be big.
Well, cost of living was about the same.
Okay.
Actually, I feel like when we moved out here, it was a little less, which is hard to believe. I don't know how that was possible. And getting hired on and stuff. You know, we struggled at first because you're not making what you're supposed to make in the academy.
Yeah.
Until that GI Bill kicked in. What?
Hey,
yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Did you feel like when you went into the academy, did you have it in your mind like, I'm just going to be quiet and not tell anybody that we're related?
Yep.
Like, how long did that last for you?
Because our last names are different, it lasted longer than expected.
Oh, you're so lucky.
Yes.
Mine was like day one.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And maybe no one will notice.
So I kept my nose down.
Yes.
And the part that screwed me is one person in the academy was good friends with my dad and remembered me from when I was a kid. So he didn't say anything at first, Aaron Smith, but it ended up getting out there, and it got bad, but it didn't get bad. So they were giving me shit.
Me too.
But I kept my mouth shut. I knew the game. I'd been in the military already, so it wasn't a big deal. I was already a police officer, so as long as I didn't do anything extremely dumb, I stayed under the radar.
Yeah. I feel like I did not stay under the radar.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard because I got a double whammy, right? Like my mom.
Yep.
And my mom is also well respected, and
high up the chain.
Feel
she wasn't that high when you got in though.
Yeah, but you know what sucks so bad? My mom called me right before I started the academy, and she had just made lieutenant. Oh. And she's like, guess where I'm gonna be? And I was like, where? And she goes, the academy. And I was like, no.
That's awesome.
It was terrible. And so she just stayed out. Like she didn't go to any of our training stuff. Like she tried to be like sparse,
to show she wasn't biased.
Yeah, and to not interfere or to give the perception of favoritism or anything like that.
Yep.
But that was a running thing with the instructors was there's no favoritism here, and I'm like, I didn't think there was.
So let me tell you a funny story. After the academy, I get they send the rookie list to the side of town you're going to go to. Yeah. So I'm going to West Side, which is where my dad's at. And it was Stewart was the captain, I believe. Captain Linda Stewart was the captain. And she comes in with the rookie list. Mm-hmm. And she's looking and she goes, hey, Freddie. She's like, here's our rookie list. And she starts going down the names because a big chunk of us went to West because they just didn't have bodies out there. And, everybody signs up for East. So, and I just, luck of the draw for me, I got West Side. So, she comes down and she's like, she gets, Bivens, whatever, gets down these names and she gets to my name and she's like, La Vagina. I don't know. And And then Spraggins, because Spraggins is over there. And my dad is dying laughing. And
no.
And she starts laughing because she thinks like, oh, I was funny, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, that's my son. And she goes, what? He goes, yeah. It's Levine. That's my son. We have different last names. She's like, oh my God, Freddie, I'm so sorry. Don't tell him. Don't tell him.
That's an awesome laugh. Now everybody's going to know that.
Oh, no. Oh, because I worked for her again at the academy. And it's that, you know how the academy is. It gets to everybody there. So it stuck. La Vagina. So
mine was like day one that they figured me out because our last names, I have a unique last name and it's spelled different. And so there's like no hiding it whatsoever.
And you're built like your mama.
Yes.
You look just like her.
I look just like my mother, and and half these people had already known me since I was a kid.
Because you've been around.
Yeah. So then there was that, and I always wanted to do well on my own and not have that. But, you know, there's still going to be people that say that no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
I still hear that about myself. The only reason that we have a tactical medic unit is because I'm my mother's child. And I'm like, what does that have to do with anything?
I've always accredited you with the only reason we have a tech unit. I never thought because of your mom. I don't see how she would have anything to do with that.
She wasn't our...
Does she have any medical experience?
No.
Maybe she
can't even stand the sight of blood.
I was going to say, maybe the only argument could be is she got you an audience.
I don't know.
She got you. If I want to talk to the chief, I talk to the chief. I've never had a chief say that they won't talk to me.
I just feel like that's what people say when they don't.
Oh.
You know, like that's the easy thing to say.
I can tell you I've never heard that. But
the only reason is because of nepotism. And I'm like, I don't even know how to spell that. Like,
so somebody complained about nepotism when I got on the bike unit.
Really?
And that's why my dad went to patrol.
No.
Yeah. Yep. I was mad because that was like his last, he was retiring. And I was like, he was over like NPOs and specialized downtown stuff and the bike unit. So he had his plate full, but it was already worked out. Your mom was the captain, I believe.
So some places that you work, for people that are listening that don't know, some places that you work will not hire relatives at all. Like some police departments say, if you have a relative on the department, you're done. Right? Not ours.
Right. Ours welcomes it.
We got like Game of Thrones where there's like
Mafia.
7 tribes. The 7 tribes of our
The
department.
Mendozas are like the Lannisters.
Yeah, so we don't have that at where we work. There's a lot of people that are related.
Yeah.
But I feel like you just have to do the best you can do, and it actually keeps you honest, right?
Yeah.
Because
I don't want to ruin their rep.
No.
That's for sure. God, I'd feel awful if I made my dad look bad.
I'm sure I have made my mom look bad at some point, but I'm like, sorry, Mom, please forgive me.
I was going to say never work related if it was.
I know, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. Sorry.
Never work related.
My mom is very introverted and very conservative and not the social media person or any of this. And so when this all started happening, it was just a weird chain of events that led to this. Like I've always
looked at you as a party in a box.
Yeah.
Like if I were to drive you to a place that you don't know where we're going.
Yeah. And
you have no idea who we're about to meet. As soon as I let you out of that box, it's a party.
Probably.
Every time.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Like I will talk to a brick wall. I'm the extroverted introvert, like I'll get out and talk to anybody. And then I go cave dwell and recover. And watch Netflix.
I guess I never looked at myself like that, but I'm the same way.
Yeah, like you got to recover.
I want to talk to everybody, but when I get home, I'm a vegetable.
Yeah,
vegetable.
A vegetable. Yeah,
yeah. I Netflix and chill by myself because my wife is in school and she doesn't love me anymore.
She's doing so good. She's gonna do good.
Yeah. So Brandi's been the one of the lifelines to my wife as far as the medical field goes.
I'm a big cheerleader of people doing, like if they have big dreams.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate of
Hers
that.
is a cool story though. Who at 38 years old, if those that don't know, me and my wife grew up together. We've known each other unofficially since we were about 5 years old. So we're the same exact age.
You need to have her on.
I want to. She don't want to do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's not a big, she's like, no, nobody wants to hear me and I don't want to be, she doesn't want to do it. So,
okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But she has never shown a desire to do anything for herself. It's always been, let's support Eric. He wants to do the military. Let's do that. Okay. I'll find what I want. She wanted to do hair. So she got her hair license, and then she got a job at a bank, and she's like, I like this. I'll do that. She just kind of went with the flow. And then all of a sudden at like 36 years old, she's like, what would you think about me catching babies? She didn't say it that way. And I was like, you want to be a nurse? And she's like, yeah. I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, that's awesome. I was like, you like really want to go for it? And she's like, I'm nervous because I haven't gone to school. And I'm like, you will be fine. I was like, trust me. I was like, it's different when you're young because your priorities are way screwed up. I was like, you're going to be hyper-focused because you're an adult. I was like, trust me, you'll be fine. I will help you with writing. I can't help you with the medical side because I don't know that stuff. But I was like, we got plenty of friends between my buddy Inman, his wife, and my wife are good friends with you. We're pretty much surrounded by medical people. Her aunt is a nurse. Her cousin, her aunt's daughter is like an anesthetician or something like that. I don't know what that is, but
a nurse anesthetist.
Yeah, knocks people out, I think. Yeah. So, I
love it.
Yeah, it's a cool story. So
I feel like it's how many people just say no to that and live in comfort.
Yeah.
Which I obviously am not a big fan of that. So yes. I can't even remember. Did y'all text me or maybe like tag me on Facebook or something? I can't remember. But I just remember it being like a resounding like, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, go for it. You can do it. Like, it's different when you have your kids looking at you and you're a little older and you're studying for a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about it.
Yep. And the way I looked at it when I was going for my master's is like, my kids have never not known a time where their parents, one of us, was continuing to better ourselves through education.
Yep.
So now that they're going to see her, and they're going to be teenagers by the time she's done, but, one will be. And then,
that's I did the same thing. I went and got my bachelor's and then went back and got my master's. And it was more like, I just wanted my kids to know.
Yeah.
If I did it with 2 kids, you have no excuse. Like,
okay. So you become a cop, right?
Yeah.
And you do the streets for how long?
I think 6 years.
Okay. So you're just shagging calls.
Well, I have to put a disclaimer on that if I'm being completely honest. Because it's more like, okay. I had 2 babies in there.
Right.
So 4-5 years maybe total by the time I have kids and light duty of having babies and all that. So I do that.
In the police world, for those that aren't police, you get more respect in big cities when you've done that 3 to 5 years on the street.
Absolutely.
And everybody's 3 to 5 years is different. You could be a 10-year officer, but if you're lazy and you're not handling up and not handling calls, then you get looked at as an officer that didn't do much. And when you start trying to jump to other units, you probably get looked over. So if you get somebody like Brandi that's known for being kick-ass and has more life-saving awards than David Hasselhoff. So
oh gosh, I feel like that is true though. I mean, if you go out and run the streets, like that's the funnest time, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard.
I found my passion.
I keep like so. I find that my personality, no matter what I get put in, at that moment, that's the funnest thing for me.
Oh, that's good though.
So I look at patrol. I had a great time.
Me too.
It was a blast. Then I went to bikes, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so fun.
Well, of course, I am always going to say Tac-Med was my dream team.
Right.
Like, I feel like everybody has that team that you work with that's just like all the guys. Mm-hmm. I laugh about this because I'm like, there's not one person on that team that didn't fit in that was like the outcast. And then I'm like, I remember people saying like, if you don't know who that person is, it's probably you.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm like, oh my gosh, we all love each other so much. There's not one person that everybody doesn't like. And then everybody else at the roll call table is like, it's you baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
Maybe me.
Right.
But yeah.
You walk in the room, everybody gets quiet. You're
like, they're like, oh God, she's here. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like that was my dream job, of course, because it's the medicine and the.
So where did you go from patrol though?
There.
You went straight to
Tac-Med.
Tac-Med.
Yeah, so we have a tactical medic unit.
Yeah. So explain that. Explain what Tac-Med is, but explain how you got the Tac-Med unit.
Okay, so I was a medic in the Army and then came to the police department. And myself and a couple other people in the department all got together And we talked about it as a group and said, hey, we should revamp the medical training that people are getting in the academy, because it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say, but like in the military, because it was wartime, you have everybody in the military learns basic medical skills. Well, then you come to the police department and you realize these guys are out there running around and they don't know what a tourniquet is. They don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And it seemed behind just because I was fresh out of the Army.
Right.
So we all started talking and we're like, hey, we should redo the medical portion of the academy.
Yeah.
So our leadership at our department that we worked for was amazing. I mean, we suggested it and they were like, bet. And then they brought us in and we started teaching it. Well, it took off. And all of a sudden, everybody loved this class. But it's just because we stole the military's class, right?
Yeah.
Like, which it's put out there.
Why reinvent the wheel?
Right.
Yeah.
So we took that and we started teaching these basic skills. Only we took the more invasive stuff out. There's no needle decompression. We were teaching tourniquets, quick clot, basic stuff.
Yeah.
Heat and cold cats, anything that we thought would be useful. So we start teaching and it just took off. And eventually we gave every officer a leg bag. And then it was just two of us that were full-time Tac-Med at the time. And we started periodically going with our SWAT team when they would go out and run warrants and the fire department wasn't available. We would just fill in for them.
Yeah.
Well, at one point, a higher up saw that was going on and yanked us out of the unit and said, this is a waste of time. So they yanked us and put us back in patrol. And then we had an officer get shot and I made scene of that shooting. And because of the way things worked out, they reinstated our unit. So then they gave us 7 full-time paramedic spots.
Yeah.
You know, as a reaction to this officer getting shot, because then the need, you know, sometimes you don't know what you need until something happens and it's like, oh crap.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect for this.
Right. It's like having a fire extinguisher in your house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're like, oh, I should probably have one of those.
Yeah, I should have one. And then when you have a fire, you're like, fuck,
Dang
why didn't I
it.
buy one?
And then forevermore, you'll always have one, even if you'll probably never need it again.
Yeah.
But then you have one. Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is because my neighbor across the street, that's what he does for a living. It's fire extinguishers.
Oh, he does.
I have like 20 fire extinguishers in my house because he gave them to me.
I probably should have a fire extinguisher in my house.
I have them everywhere.
So yeah. So then we get 7 full-time paramedics / police officers.
That's awesome.
And it's an awesome unit.
So what you're telling me is you found a gap in the training and
Well, we did.
Who's we?
Me and the other guys.
Oh, okay.
I have to be careful because I don't ever want to. I feel like because of things that have happened with me, sometimes like there's a lot of credit that gets put on me for things that were a we.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I get you.
And when you get like this is a unique opportunity to tell all sides of the stories because when you interview with the media, a lot of people don't realize how much they will splice it up.
Yeah.
So I may say, hey, it was a team effort. I was a small spoke in a big wheel. It was God. I mean, a lot of times I'll say, hey, that was a God thing. Because like the officer that was shot that I made scene of, that's hands down a God thing. Like he only survived because God said you survived. Because those injuries, they were insurmountable, right? And then there were so many hands on him.
He'll be here tomorrow.
Oh, he will?
Yeah. He wanted to be here today to keep you in check, but.
Oh my gosh. He is such a pain in the ass.
I know.
You see his comment that he left?
I did.
What a jerk. He commented on this podcast, your podcast's going to suck if you have her on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So he gets shot and then there's so many people that have a hand in that. And then I got like a lot of cool awards because of it. But I would always say like this was a team effort. And then I feel like when they splice it up and put it on the media,
it's about you.
Well, they want that drama.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it wasn't, hey, I got lucky and I was there and I did a small part and there were these other officers there and there was this and that. All of a sudden it was like, and then Matt's best friend from the time he was in diapers came to save the scene. And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't even what we said.
Right.
Like, this is not even how the interview went.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're trying to get you to cry. Like they would.
Doesn't take much for me.
Oh God, they would ask Matt we would be interviewing, and we interviewed, I mean, it was a big deal. We went Good Morning America. We went to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We interviewed all over the place, local media, everything. And every time they're like, so, there'd be this reporter and they'd be talking to Matt about him getting shot several times. And they'd be like, so in that moment when you were laying there, were you thinking of your children and how they might not ever see their father again? I'm like, this bitch, like, what are we doing? This is so bad.
And you're over there just glaring.
Yes, there were several times where, I mean, I remember one time I'm like, hey, like, hold on. Or you have to like check on each other and be like, hey, are you okay? Yeah. And then of course they're going to splice it all up. Yeah. I mean, it gets all spliced up and crazy.
And that's one of the benefits, I think, of this.
Yeah.
It's unfiltered. It's all the way through. I don't edit anything really.
Oh, so if I say something stupid, you're not going to beep out my cuss words? Great.
No, I don't beep out the cuss words.
My mom's
now, if for whatever reason, and I don't care who knows this, I'm not trying to hide it. If I accidentally mention the department that I work for or something like that, I'll edit that out because
that's smart.
I'm not trying to get in trouble. That's why I don't do anything live because
that's smart.
I'm so used to talking about where I work because I love it, and it comes out naturally. Sometimes
you need a disclaimer.
So, I have one.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. At the beginning of the show, it shows, there's a disclaimer on there and it's on the Facebook page and all that stuff. Yeah. So, there's a disclaimer that
it's hard, right?
It is hard.
It's hard to be a representative of your department. And like me, I made the decision early on. Like, I just put myself out there. Like, my social media is me in uniform and I say where I work. And I just decided early on, I'm just going to try to be the best representative of our department that I can be.
And luckily it worked out.
Yes. But,
you know what I mean?
But always keeping in mind that this is not my own opinion. This is the department as a whole, which is hard. That's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah. So where were we going? You
How
created
did the unit start?
Yeah. Oh, and then we started talking about that the media tends to splice things up where this is not spliced. You get to tell the whole story. Now everybody gets to hear that it wasn't just your idea.
It wasn't. The tactical medic unit was not just my idea at all. There were so many people that had a hand in that. Mm-hmm. Matt's shooting, saving Matt's life was not me. It was the guys that made it before me. It was God not letting him get shot in the right place. I'll save that whole story for tomorrow because that'd be a really good story. But he'll tell you too. He has no problem telling you. Like, we got awards and we got to do cool things. Yeah. But at the end of the day, we said yes to a lot of things, and people be like, "Oh, I'm so sick of seeing them." We were everywhere. Yeah. But I'm not going to say no to some of those experiences. That's an opportunity for us to be a positive impact with the community and be out there and tell a good story, and tell everybody.
You need the medical stuff.
Yeah, you need the medical, and huge. This is what these officers are doing, and this is what we're going through, and this is what we're risking. By signing up, like that's such a good story. Yeah.
What do you say to people that throw this? I hate this argument. You signed up for it. You knew what you're getting into. I didn't sign up to get shot.
I didn't sign up to get shot.
Risk. I'm willing to.
That's a calculated risk.
Yeah, it is a calculated risk, but I don't want to.
That would be like saying that by getting your driver's license, you're signing up to be maimed or killed in a car accident. Yeah, to me,
that's a good argument.
Like you get in an accident and you get maimed, and we're going to look at you and be like, well, you signed up for it. You were in the car. Yeah. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. I didn't sign up to get shot.
I never have a good response to that. I never have a good way to argue it.
Nor do I want to have to kill anyone or shoot anyone.
Hell no.
Like, never.
No.
Never. I don't take that responsibility.
I tell people, like, look, I'm not lazy. I will do the job that needs to be done, but I'm not putting more work on myself than I have to.
Yeah.
And if I can avoid shooting somebody, damn it, I'm going to try to avoid shooting them.
Yeah.
I'm going 17 people. Years in law enforcement. I ain't shot somebody yet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Oh, God. Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about it. You're just a reservist. So
don't jinx me. Golly. Can you imagine?
I know.
What he's teasing me, I took instead of just completely quitting the department, I've been here almost 14 years and I asked permission and respectfully requested to stay on as a volunteer. Because I love my team and I love our department.
Yeah.
Like I really...
Are they letting you reserve on the Tac-Med?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Isn't that awesome? So my buddies that I miss so much since I've been sitting at home.
I bet.
I mean, it's hard. It really is. Except for Matt. I
wouldn't miss him.
He has a really grumpy cat face. You know?
You know, after his shooting and all that stuff, we knew he needed to focus on getting healthy.
Yeah.
And us on the bike unit, we got him a bike.
Yes. I remember that.
You remember the bike we got him? He never rode it.
But take it back from him and give it to me so I can ride with my kids.
He's like, I'm not going to lie, Levine. He's like, it didn't get used a whole lot.
Hey, you know what you should do? Okay. You should call him and make him bring it with him tomorrow. And y'all should ride up and down the street together.
He probably sold it. I know how he is. He probably made money on it. That's the type of guy Matt is.
Poor Matt.
I know. He's not here to defend himself.
Yeah. Oh, but see, this sucks because he's going to get the last word tomorrow.
Yeah, he is. I mean, if you wanted to show up, he's not going to see this episode because I'm not going to get it edited till this weekend, probably. So, yeah. And when I say edit, I just have to add the stuff, the music, and change the camera angles, like when I'm talking to when you're talking.
Oh my gosh, that's a mess.
It's a pain because you have to watch the whole thing.
And then stop it and then drag it and then stop it and then drag it.
And click, and click, and click.
No,
and
I'm not that fancy.
Yeah.
You know, wait till you get on TikTok and you see some of these geniuses that are on there.
Like Novak. No, he's not a genius by any means, but I'm new. So I'm like, well, who's my friend? So I see Novak's and Novak's like, you know, the time that I was at the store, boom, another angle. And then there was this time I was over here. I'm like, how's he doing that? Because when I take it's one straight film and I've had to refilm myself like 16 times just to say what I wanted to say.
Just wait. These kids on there, there are some geniuses on TikTok. I know TikTok gets a bad rap. When I look at my TikTok and I am scrolling through my For You page, there are some people that do some things and I'm like, what? Why are you not working for like a major company? Like they're editing and splicing things. Oh, it's crazy.
Yep.
I wish I was that good at it.
I feel like a genius just doing what I do with the camera angles. I'm like, oh, look at me.
Yeah.
Camera one, camera two,
good
camera
at
three.
it.
Yeah.
I've learned some. Yeah.
Well, that thing you sent me with the girl dancing.
What one?
The little, when I sent my video.
Oh, yeah.
And then somehow you took my video and you made it into.
What? I'm going to show you.
Okay.
I'll show you.
Okay.
He's talking about Instagram stories. He doesn't.
That wasn't.
It's
TikTok?
an Instagram story.
I thought that was TikTok.
That's Instagram.
I thought that was TikTok the whole time.
It's Instagram.
I can't keep them together.
Y'all, all I did was put a GIF on the Instagram story, and he thinks I'm like a computer genius.
I was like, I'm looking at Sarah. I'm like, I should do this. It's like, I can't do this.
Oh my gosh.
So
it's so easy. Wait till I show you and you're going to edit that out.
But I don't even know where that picture, okay. I don't know where it
I'm going to show you.
It sent a message to me privately.
Yeah.
And it showed me you did something. So I'm like, oh, let me go to Brandi's page and see where it's at. Mm-hmm. And so I look, it wasn't on the normal front page.
It's on my profile picture.
It wasn't. Oh, I didn't click on that. You can click on people's profile pictures?
If someone has a circle around their profile picture that's like different colors, that means there's something on their story.
Fuck. I hate stupid Instagram. Okay.
Yes.
So, and this goes for anybody that's tried to message me. I've had a lot of people message me, hey, like, because I posted that video about needing guests.
Yeah.
Okay, just for the record, I had people lined up for the week. I had like 3 shows lined up, and they all fell through. And I was like, damn it, what do I do now?
Okay, it's summer.
So I'm like,
everybody's got stuff going on.
Yeah. So I'm texting people like, hey, what are you doing? You want to be on the podcast? Oh, I'd love to be. When? Like in 2 hours? Can you be here? And they're like, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, what about tomorrow? What about the day after? And I thought like a couple weeks from now. I'm like, well, okay. I guess that's the adult
You're gonna
answer.
have to stack them up.
Oh, girl, that whole thing. I don't know if I sent you the picture, but I've got a list now, and I've learned I'm giving people hard dates. Like, this is your date and this is your time.
Yeah.
So fucking be here. I'll kill you, Leonard Nimoy. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But anyway, so you make the Tac-Med. I'm going back. You made the Tac-Med unit. Explain what the Tac-Med unit does. So citizens that don't have one or think their department's big enough to need one, sell it.
So we have police officers first. They're all we choose our tactical medics from the police department. So we have police officers that then are dual certified as paramedics. And the vast majority of them are former military medics or have some sort of military experience. Or I'm sorry, civilian medical experience before. That's just the way the cookie crumbled with this first group of us that became tactical medics.
Well, it's the fastest route.
Yeah. And you're getting people that are really good at what they do. I mean, there's a lot of medical knowledge in that unit. We get a bad rap for, these are just cops that are playing medic. But really, people don't realize.
You go to the real school.
But even before that, a lot of these guys have been multiple deployments overseas as medics, as combat medics. We have MedStar FTO on our team who became a police officer, who then became a medic. Like, these are not people that just play a medic on TV. Like, they're actually, we are really big on keeping up our skill set. We do a lot. So they're medical, they're paramedic and police officer. They do basic and advanced SWAT. They are entry certified. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes into it. Okay. Weapons quals are higher than normal, PT tests, all of it. So our main focus in the Tac-Med unit is to run any high priority call with patrol, our street cops that are out there that may have a high propensity for violence. So traffic stops, domestic disturbances, shooting, stabbings, any of that. Mm-hmm. Because police officers are so mobile, people don't understand that a lot of times we make scene first before anybody else can get there. Our cars are lighter. We're out and about. So these guys are really sprinkled throughout the city, and they're chasing these high priority calls just in case an officer or citizen goes down, and it works. Okay. So they're making these scenes fast, and they're being extra hands for the medical personnel that are going to show up and take over. So we're really just trying to bridge the gap. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel we're not trying to take over MedStar's job. We love our ambulance services and our fire department guys that are out there doing medical. Yeah. It's just, if we happen to be there, we want to supplement that and make sure that nobody's waiting too long for that first on medical. In addition to that, any and all SWAT call outs or dangerous calls that are going to last a long time, any active shooter, they would be there. Really, it's just, especially on an active shooter, you think about the average response time in the nation is 25, 30 minutes for first medical to go into the hot zone on an active shooter. So if someone's shooting, they make the whole school campus or whatever the case may be, the mall, the hot zone where nobody can go in. These civilian medics are going to have to stage outside that perimeter, and tactical medics will run in and immediately go to work. So we do that, and a lot of teaching, a lot of education. Yeah. They are really trying to make these police officers, these frontline guys, proficient in these basic medical skills. And really, to me, that's the greatest success of the tactical medic unit has been the waterfall effect that it has, right? So we have these guys that are out here that are running calls every day, and they are using medical left and right. So they show up, even they arrest somebody for breaking into a house and their arm is sliced open and they're bleeding. They have an arterial bleed. These officers are able to know how to tie a tourniquet on and save people's lives. It's not just for police officers or your true victim, right? It's for anybody on a scene. And that to me is the biggest. I'm so happy about that because I live in the city and so do my kids. Yeah. So I live where I work. Yep. So the more skills that we can put in the toolbox of your police officer that's out there, the better off I think we are. Like, there's no shame in that. So for you, we're talking about a city that we're not going to mention the department, obviously, but let's just say for comparison's sake, roughly the size of Baltimore. Which people don't realize. Right. So size of Baltimore with less than half of the same amount of officers that they've got. Yep. So we're talking maybe 1,700 cops where you're working, and you've got 7 on a Tac-Med unit for that entire city of about 1 million people. Yes. So that's where the teaching comes into play, right? Like, so I feel like education and experience is wasted if you don't share it with other people. So I would never be the person that would gain knowledge or experience and try to keep it to myself. Yeah. That is the biggest waste. That is the biggest selfish waste that you could ever do. If you have knowledge and you know that you have experience in a niche and you have a big idea, or you realize that something is lacking, I feel like it is the right thing to do to speak up. And there's always something. I tell new recruits when we teach them, like, there's always something. You always have some sort of knowledge or experience in you that you can share with other people. So we have officers that come in and they're jujitsu experts. Okay, well, that's fine. And that's great. If you want to be a black belt in jujitsu, that's great. But you use that for yourself, that's fine. But you need to be instilling that in other people and convincing them why they need that.
Yeah.
You're a resource at that point.
Yeah.
And we do have people that do that, right?
Did you bring up jujitsu because of me?
Well, I mean, yes. Okay.
Or because of my old man?
Both. I mean, both, right? So,
Yeah.
in it's no secret. Whew.
It's okay.
I'm tearing crap up in here.
All
So
right.
I feel like that is a good thing that's done. Like
Yeah.
get down there and roll with people and tell people like, hey, listen, and that's an easy sell. Jiu-jitsu is the easiest sell of all.
It is.
Because you're like, roll for me for 2 minutes.
Yep.
And then by the end of the 2 minutes, I swear to God, you will be convinced.
Yep. It's the
You
best.
will.
Yeah.
Because I did jiu-jitsu for a long time up at the academy and then rolling at a little place outside of the department, right?
Yeah.
And I swear to you, like all I learned is how little I knew for like the first.
I try to tell people it is a eye opener. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'll punch him in the face." Well, what are you gonna do if that guy knows how to stop you from punching him in the face?
And all you're doing is getting close enough for somebody that knows jujitsu.
Yeah.
Like I'm not getting close enough. I joke around because my partner on Tac-Med, my brother, I mean, he really is my brother. Like him and his wife are my best friends. I tell him, I'm like, I see somebody that looks like you. You got a little cauliflower ear, a little.
Yeah.
I'm getting nowhere near you as
yeah.
a cop. Like, nah, bro, you're going to stay all the way over there. He's like, hey, why are you drawing down on me? You ain't coming close to me. I can tell you that.
Right?
Like, not today.
That happened when I was a kid. I fell.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Bullshit. I'm a white belt.
Yeah.
I know better. You stay
All the
way over
cauliflower
there.
guys fuck me up.
That's it. So I feel like even like little things like that. And, and the weapons experts, we have people that are weapons experts that are, that's a brilliant thing about working for a good department too, is that they allow that.
Yeah.
They allow, our department does a very good job of allowing subject matter experts to be subject matter experts and to share their knowledge.
Yeah.
Like really and truly.
As long as you do go through the right avenues, you don't just get to jump up and say whatever the hell you want.
Yep.
We have like actual educational curriculums.
Yep.
Like you have to present a class in a class format and a class template and all of that stuff. You don't just get to go up there and share your perspective. You have to present it in a way that's approved.
Yeah.
And I think that's good checks and balances. So
For sure.
we make sure that people aren't jumping up there saying crazy shit.
It's really good though. I mean, we are lucky that we have so many people that are like, we have world renowned shooters, like not just some dude that's like, this is how I think you should shoot, but like, hey, I travel the world and tell people.
We had a guy go to Russia and shoot an AK competition. Customs took his custom built AK from him. He grabbed an AK off the shelf from the place and won the competition in Russia.
Like true story. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And we have driving experts and motorcycle experts and tactical experts and rappel experts. And I mean, like anything you can think of, we are really
Human trafficking.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Like stuff that's hot right now.
Crimes against children.
Yeah.
The internet child pornography ring experts. And it's really cool.
It is cool.
I really do.
Yep.
I know it sounds cheesy.
Catalytic converter theft expert.
Oh, hey, shout out.
Unintentional. So dumb.
I feel like my ADD's getting me. See how much I move around?
I know.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm like.
That's why I told you should have had some whiskey instead of water.
I probably, I should have known. I told him, I'm like, no, I'm good because I'm driving, but I should have known we would have talked for 3 hours.
That's what I said. You would be fine.
I
was like, we're at an hour and 8 minutes already.
God, that's crazy. It flies.
Quick. I told you. It goes by quick. So.
Well, it's fun because it's like I haven't got to check up with you in a long time. Like,
I know.
Catch up.
I thought for a minute you were mad at me.
Why?
Because you weren't responding.
I was busy.
I get it. I'm just saying.
I was busy.
My feelings got hurt.
Look at my list of irons in the fire that you have.
I thought it was. I know
all of them.
What I thought was funny was I had given up on you. In a way. No, I mean I was like, all right. I let her know what I want to do. She'll get back to me when she gets to it. So I forgot, and I had gone down this list of. I told you I made a big list of all these people that.
And I wasn't even on it, was I?
No, you were on it, but I hadn't even texted you. You text me.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, she remembered. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So
well, I swear I have a really bad habit of saying yes to everything.
yeah.
And then I forget. And I swear I'm like ADD.
Yeah.
So I feel everybody would take up for me on this. Just wait. Everybody's going to be like, that's exactly how she is.
Yeah.
I am the queen of, hey, let me call you right back. You will never hear from me again. I swear to God.
Have you left your kids up at the school or something like that?
No, I feel like they're the only thing that I'm like really good at. I'm a really good mom. But I feel like I am the queen of that. Like people are like, okay. I'm like, or people will text me and I'll read it and be like, I need to text them back. And then I'll just disappear off the face of the earth. So all the people that are the closest to me are like, hey bro, I texted you like 8 times. I'm like, oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
My wife hates my memory. I just have a bad memory, and I'll forget that I've even reached out to somebody, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get back with them. They're like, well, call me later. I'm like, okay, I will. And I never do.
And I have like so much going on all the time. I'm trying to keep up with everything.
You're busy. I
am. Well, since I retired, I've had a little break.
Is that what it is? You retired?
I retired. I retired.
No, I look at you as an old retired reserve officer.
Yeah, I'm a retired reserve officer for real.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm retired and I took a little break before school starts. So I'm just vegging.
I'm glad you brought up before school starts. So explain to people, besides your awesome career, okay, and how many, I want to put this out there for my own personal life. How many life-saving awards do you actually have?
I don't know.
Bullshit. How many do you got?
I don't know.
Count them up.
I don't know.
Count them up. Count them up.
I really don't know.
She's got so many she can't remember.
Oh my gosh.
That figures. So Matt, that's one. What else?
I don't know.
You lie.
I don't know. I swear to you. I don't know.
Okay. That's cool. That's cool.
Anyways,
I'm trying to inspire women to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah, but the women that
I'm not trying to brag.
If you want to follow in my footsteps, you don't do it for awards.
That's true.
Because
but I want them to see
those awards don't mean anything. Like nothing.
What pisses me off more than anything about people talking about women in our line of work or in the military or anything like that is they can't do what the guys do. And I won't lie. I almost prefer exclusively to work with females in the streets because we can play off each other so much better. Because women have certain strengths that men don't have.
I agree with that.
And vice versa. And I probably got that from our parents.
Well,
we
did have a really good example because your dad and my mom were partners.
Forever. Not just in bikes, but in the streets and all that. So, so I kind of picked up from that. And I hate when I hear people say, like, well, women can't do the same things. Bullshit. Like, I had Sarah Crothers picked me up. I was unconscious. She picked me up off the ground and carried me somewhere. It wasn't work. I wasn't in work.
Yeah.
It was something different. But that is an example of like people saying, well, how are they going to pick up a dead body? Or
well, like, I mean, let's just be real. Like how I feel like there's a lot to that conversation.
There
but
is.
Like, first of all, you have to take male, female out of it for the first part of the equation, which is my advice to a new police officer would be the same whether you're a male or a female. You have to meet the standard. Okay. Period. So if you want to be a police officer, and this is for anyone that was listening, male or female, if you want to be a police officer, there is no excuse, zero excuse for you to show up day one to try out for your academy and not meet the standard. Yeah. That to me is so irritating.
And it's funny because she said this so many times at the academy after CQSD.
I'm telling you.
You're so mad.
I get mad at them.
I know.
Okay, let's say I want to be a police officer, and to make things easy, I'll just say they want you to do 10 push-ups and 10 sit-ups and run 10 miles. Whatever it is.
1 mile. 1 mile. 1 mile. Holy shit, 10 miles. I'd be out.
I'm in a go-kart.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm
Air Forcing it.
Yeah.
So they want you to meet the standard, and there's no secret. It's not a secret. Yeah. It's not like this is not special forces selection. They're not just going to be like, there is a standard, but you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you. We're going to tell you like, this is what we expect of you. And then we have people show up that can't even meet 30% of the set standard. That to me, you are making a joke out of yourself. You're not taking yourself seriously. So why would I?
You're thinking of it as a job instead of a career.
Right. I have no love lost for you at that point.
Yeah.
Because my kids live in this city. Mm-hmm. It could be my kids you're coming to get. So take it seriously, people that want to be police officers. If there is a set standard, physical, mental, or otherwise, know what it is and make damn sure that you can meet it and exceed it prior to showing up to try out, because you don't know what's going to happen that day. Your nutrition could be off. You could be dehydrated. You could be having a bad day. Your boyfriend could break up with you on the way to the test. Boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Yeah. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So if you don't know already that you can meet that standard, you're setting yourself up for failure. And the process to apply to be a police officer is so long.
Yeah.
Like you have all the time in the world.
Yeah.
Another thing, if you've never been in a fight, why are you signing up to be a police officer and you've never been in a fight? You could go down to jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I'm not saying go tell somebody, hey, punch me in the face because I want to see if I can be a cop.
Punch me in the face.
Hit me in the face because I want to be a police officer.
I think of Step Brothers.
Yeah.
You want to hit me, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But if you know you want to do these things, like, hey, if I could handwrite a plan for somebody, and they do it at our academy, they do it, they give them a plan.
Yeah.
I am going to make sure that I can exceed that first standard because it only gets harder after day one, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to show up and embarrass myself.
Yeah.
Especially as a female. That is the one place I'm just going to add that. That's just a little thing in the back of your mind because they're going to be looking, right? Everybody's going to look at the females and see how they do. So make sure you exceed the standard. If the standard is 10 push-ups, make sure you can do it. There should be no question in your mind day one. It shouldn't be, I'm going to take pre-workout and not eat and then show up and adrenaline will carry me through. No, fam, you're going to embarrass yourself.
Yeah.
You're going to embarrass yourself. Yeah. So you already set your reputation is terrible. If you know that you've never been in a fight and you don't know if you have it in you, some of us know prior to applying.
Yes.
Like, I know what's going to happen if I get hit in the face. It's happened. So you go to a jiu-jitsu gym and tell them, hey, I want to be a police officer. Can you help me out? I've never been in a fight. I don't know any of this. That way you don't panic when we put you in that environment in the academy. And he's laughing because we do a day with all of this in it. And I always give this speech. Mm-hmm. You're 3 weeks into the academy. You're a year into the process at this point, probably, because you apply to be a cop. You show up to the academy, and then 3 weeks in, we just whoop you up.
Yeah.
Right?
Like in the most controlled fight we can give you, both on the ground and then in a boxing ring.
And it's necessary and very valuable. Yep. However, a lot of people panic, and it's because they haven't done any prep work. Yep. Like I don't know. And I kind of tell people, gut check yourself. Like, decide if you want to do this or not. Yep. If not, quit. Don't be a police officer if you don't know if you want to, like, if you don't want to be in a fight or not want to. That's a terrible way to put that. Skirk, back it up. If you don't
expect to be in a fight.
Yeah, like, well,
don't come into this career field thinking you're going to community police the world. You can try.
Yeah.
But if you work for a major city, it is not, you are going to get in a fight.
Here's a better way to put it. You never know what you're going to do if you're in a fight, right? Like, you don't know until you've been there. And each fight is different, right? Mm-hmm. However, I want to know that if I get into a fight, you're going to jump in with me.
Yes.
That's where it's at.
And you're not going to quit.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and so my advice to any police officer or people that want to be police officer is know the standard and prepare for that standard and make sure you show up day one, exceeding that first standard that we give you. And then that sets the tone for the rest of the academy, right? If they tell you, hey, this is what you have to do to graduate, you're not going to hope and pray and that you somehow make it.
If I get real mad, I'm going to get through it.
That's my favorite. Not eat for 2 days and drink 3 bangs and drive 3 scoops of pre-workout, and then go up there and put myself into,
What you're going to do is you're going to almost pass out. You're going to throw up. You're going to shake violently because you have nothing in you but caffeine and hate. and you're going to get dropped.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. She's going to have to come over and IV you, and she's going to yell at you the whole time.
Yeah, and make sure, and this might be the biggest one, that you actually love people and care about people. Because really, like, nobody hates a bad cop more than a good cop. Mm-hmm. And people do get into policing for the wrong reason. So if you don't want to help people and you genuinely do not care about people, like then this becomes a costume,
Yep.
which is a pet peeve of mine. It's not a costume.
And that's part of the process of people. Why you shouldn't make people get in a fight. I've heard that argument, and we're not making them get in a fight. First off, no one's making you be a cop. You can not do the academy.
Yeah.
But part of that is for us to see where your temper is at when you get hit. Because like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan
until they get hit in the face.
Yeah. So if you get punched and all of a sudden you black out with anger, we may need to keep an eye on you throughout the rest of the academy.
Right.
I'm not saying you're going to get kicked out right then, because part of my job is to help you control that, to learn how to deal with that stuff. But
yeah, I would also say that along these same lines, I think a lot of females get a bad rap. I do not count in this. I'm just going to go ahead and call myself
Are we talking
out.
about crying?
No,
Okay.
We're going to talk about women being smaller in stature than your average male police officer.
She's bigger than me.
I am an Amazonian. Okay.
Yes.
So I should not.
I go with a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
I think you're more of a Viking.
Like a Viking. I'll take that.
I think you're
I'll
a Viking.
take that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like a great compliment.
I
like
think
a
so.
Lagertha. That's who I want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly what I had in my head.
Yes,
I think your mom may have slept with Thor. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
I think your mom may have banged Thor.
Oh my God. I'm leaving.
No, you're not.
Goodbye. Yeah. So I feel like people women are a little, maybe not want to apply, or they think they want to be a cop and they have it in them. And they're like, but I'm such a small female. I'm telling you, some of the best cops I've seen have been some very small in stature females. And there's men that are smaller too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
So I've had a lot of females come up to me, and, it's so fun when I have like a female that I can think of one right off the top of my head. She approached me at an event and told me, I think I want to be a police officer, but
Nicola?
yep.
Yeah, I know. She's badass.
Yes.
Like
and every time I see her, I'm like, I love it. She came up to me and she was like, I think I want to do this. And what advice would you have for me? And my family's not supportive and I don't know what to do. And then I turn around and she's standing in the academy class and I'm like, yes. And then she's done so well.
Yeah. She kicked ass.
I was
one of her instructors, I believe.
So good.
That's why I know her. Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah. She stood out.
Yeah.
In a good way.
That's good.
She was good. But
yeah, so I think my advice to police officers wouldn't.
What's your advice to the ones that cry when you know that they should?
Oh gosh, I can't stand this. I feel
Why are you crying?
I feel
she is an animal to people that she knows are trying to play off sympathy.
I feel like there's some physiological things that happen when you get under that much stress and you get adrenaline dump, right?
Yeah.
And we put these people to their max and then they want to cry. And I'm like, it's fine if you want to cry. It really is. But I'm going to treat you like I treat my kids. Like, you're free to have this emotion, but go somewhere else.
It's so brutal. And I'm over there. I'm like, I can't say that stuff, but she can.
Well, I feel like I'm like, if you want to cry, that's fine, but go to the locker room and cry. Like, don't break down and have a sobbing fit. What are you going to do in front of people on a call?
Yeah. And she's not just talking about girls.
I'm not just talking about girls.
Because guys do it too. So
yes,
I've seen it.
I know. And it's a normal response. So don't come at me in the comments or whatever. Like, I get it. You get an adrenaline dump and then it's a natural response when things start to go back the other way. Sometimes you get teary eyed and like, why am I feeling this way?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But go cry in your room and come out when you're done.
I'm trying to adjust this. Sorry.
Like, that's bad. You make me feel like I'm a bad, like, mean.
You're not. It's awesome. It's just, you know how it is. There is somewhat of a double standard. I can't say that to a girl.
Why?
It won't go well. And
I feel like
fine.
it's in the way you say it. Like, you could say like, hey, I understand you feel like crying right now. Go to the locker room and clean up your face. Don't let people see you like that. You can be nicer than me. I'm not nice. I'm like, go.
I was going to say, like the way you do it, I can't do that. I can tell them, hey, go take some time. That's what I'll say. Yeah. But, yeah, it's just different. It's different. Girls can talk to girls different than guys can talk to girls.
And times are changing. Yeah. I wish that the pendulum would swing back to a more militant environment,
Yeah, for the training purposes.
But I'm a old Army, staff sergeant.
Right. You're like a Bob Sutherland.
I feel like I like that style of training more. Let me tell you, I was a Bob Sutherland favorite. Okay.
He didn't step on you while you were laying down on the deck?
Yes. Yes, he did.
I'm trying to get him on here.
You know what he did? So we have this older, he's going to kick my butt for saying that.
Way older. Salt of the earth older.
And he's awesome. And he is like a no pulls, like doesn't pull any punches, and is like the old school cop.
Yeah.
Right. And then in the academy, he his nickname for me, speaking of being like your Valkyrie, like Viking chick, his nickname for me was, well, I can't say it without saying my last name, but he called me Von Brandystein. So he like put my last name instead of my first name.
Okay.
And then he's like, that was his name for me. And he's like, look at this. So one time we're at the academy and he pulls me up in front of my class and he's like, get up here. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what's up? And he's like, all right, guys, everybody gather around. Or skull. Remember? Skull. Yeah. And so everybody comes and gathers around. And he made everybody take a knee. And he's like, look at this woman. Some women are made to be show ponies. Those are the women you want on your arm when you're out on a date, and they're so beautiful, and everybody they want to be seen. You want to be seen with this woman. And I'm like, dang. I'm like, okay, I'm a show pony, right? He's like, those are show ponies. And he goes, not this one. She's a Clydesdale. She's made for work. Look at the legs on this beast. And I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
Yes. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. But then I realized that is the biggest compliment he could have given me in his own Bob way. So I've stuck with that. Like, that is my nickname. Like, everybody in the gym calls me Clydesdale and everything. I'm like, nay. Let's go. Like, I don't even care. I will take being the workhorse chick. Yeah. Like, that's fine. Yeah. But he definitely was. When we were learning our basic jujitsu, I had to shrimp across the floor.
Yeah.
And so he comes up to me and I'm like, I am not coordinated. Shrimping will teach you real fast how uncoordinated you are. Like, you think you got some skill. Yeah. You try to shrimp the first time and you're going to look like an idiot. So that was me. So I'm shrimping across the floor and he's like, what in the heck is going on over here? And I'm like, what? I'm shrimping, sir. And he's like, you need to be beeping, warning everybody behind you that there's a wide load headed towards them. So he made me beep across the floor. The whole academy. He's like, hey, where's my beeping?
There's no way you can do that today.
I'm like, beep, beep, like shrimping across the floor.
That's awesome.
That was him. But I love it.
I did too. I was there for his third retirement, so
I love it.
Yeah.
I love that training style, that old school, we're going to call everybody out on their weaknesses or their differences.
With humor.
Yeah. And it became he had no problem either. He would look at me and be like, you're gaining weight.
Yeah.
You're a thick old woman. And I'm like, I know. I'm stressed out, sir. He's like, well, get it under control. We're not going to have a uniform to fit you by the time you graduate. I'm like, this is awesome. But I came from the military, so I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can't do that today.
I hate that.
I know. It bugs me.
I really do hate that.
People are so sensitive about certain things.
Yeah.
But, you can. But you're risking it.
Oh, I can't even imagine. You'd get complained on so fast.
You get complained on.
Tell a female that she gained weight.
Yep. So I was going to get to women in policing, the pros and the cons. And so you're kind of hitting it, talking about the pros back in the day when you was coming through is now kind of it's a con because you can't do that anymore.
There's pros and I wish some things could go back. I mean, I feel like as a whole, even recruiting and everything, we recruit specifically for female officers. And I don't really agree with that. I think we need the best police officers.
Yeah.
Some of them will be women, but the last thing you want is a police officer that doesn't need to be a police officer. That is so dangerous.
Yeah.
You pull that person that really wants it, but doesn't need or have the capability to be a police officer. And then we end up in a dangerous situation.
Costume cop. Like you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like SWAT. I bring this up a lot. SWAT's probably going to think I'm a fanboy big time. Because I've had people in my family, you ever going to think about doing SWAT? Because SWAT's the top tier for cops work when people think of that. And it's cool to say you're SWAT. And I'm like, well, that's the thing. Because yes, SWAT would be fun for me. I think I'd have a blast doing it. But where I'm at in my life right now with my kids and my family life, you have to balance that stuff. And I can't give SWAT and the team what they need and deserve for that job.
It's a big commitment.
It's a big commitment, and it's not about, in my opinion anyway, SWAT is not about you. You're joining for the team.
Yep.
And that's how it should be. And I can't say that I'm in a place in my life that I could be there for the team the way that they deserve.
Well, you are also bringing up another good point of what makes a good person and good police officer in general, and that's emotional maturity and the ability to self-reflect and take an inventory of what your strengths and weaknesses are.
Yes.
So you don't want to be SWAT just because you want to wear a SWAT tab.
rocker. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay. Like that doesn't mean anything. I don't give a crap if you want it or not. Like,
yes.
What do you bring to the table? And are you going to be a good SWAT officer? Same thing with me. Like, why did I not go SWAT? Number one, because I was in the place where I was intended to be. Right. I was made to be Tac-Med. Yeah. I'm good.
Plus you're a girl.
Plus I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Nobody wants a girl in the
Girls
SWAT
can't
team.
be a SWAT.
No.
God, that SWAT team would have loved you.
I worked with them already.
I know.
Like, and I.
Well, that's another thing. Explain, like, you said you go out for.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
police
we answer warrants with SWAT. We're on every operation that they do. I have the utmost respect for our SWAT team. We have the best SWAT team. I have zero problems with them. I am so comfortable in everyone that lives where we live should be comfortable knowing that those are the guys that are going to come if somebody's, if the situation dictates that it's a SWAT call. They are highly trained and very proficient, and I have the utmost of respect for them. Yeah. I also know myself.
Yeah.
And I am like, why do I want to be SWAT? Because I want to be a good role model, and I want these girls to have someone to look up to. That's the tactical officer. Okay, cool, bet. But I have zero desire to do what they do day in and day out. Yeah. It is brutal. They're out there in 110 degree heat, 120 in the sun, on the perimeter. Sometimes, I mean, I think the longest SWAT call out I was on was like 8.5 hours. No food, no, like nothing. Like, and I'm just not.
Yeah. And they got to stay mentally focused.
Yes.
Like they got to be on top of their game for that whole thing. They're the type of guys that get off on that stuff. That, like, you and I were like, that would suck. And they're like, that suck is awesome. You know what I mean? Like, they love that shit.
They do.
They're like,
and they have to do it.
Veltre's another dude. That guy just likes to suffer. Bangle, another guy, likes to make himself suffer.
They're going to be great at that, though.
Yeah.
Like,
they love that stuff.
They take it seriously, and they're going through the steps to prepare themselves for that position, and I have a lot of respect for that.
But what's cool with the Tac-Med unit is you guys, that's where the TAC side comes in. It's not just you guys going into high-risk calls with patrol, because the way I look at that is patrol, whether they're trained for it or not, they could find themselves in a tactical situation. However, you guys are also attached to the most tactical unit, SWAT, where they've got an active shooter in a school. Well, guess what? Saddle up, because you're coming in behind us and you're taking care of the bodies as they go. It's
unique because no one else would go in with them except for Tac-Med.
Yeah.
But you also learn a lot about those guys, training with them, and a lot about yourself. Mm-hmm. I did a lot of growth as a police officer through the training that they put us through, because they put us through their training.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to be on the stick with them, but I'm going to be in their environment. So they put us through their training, and you learn real quick. They get a reputation for being egotistical, and you learn real quick. There's no egos there.
Right.
If there is, they get corrected like lickety split.
Yep.
There's a lot of that inventory, that self-inventory of, okay, we're going to find out where your weaknesses are. And those guys know each other backwards and forwards. Same thing kind of with Tac-Med. Like, if you go in, it's one thing to put your resume on paper.
Yeah.
And they're not going to, once you're in, it's like it's wiped clean. And they're going to be like, well, we're going to tell you what your resume is, right?
Yeah.
You may say like, hey, I'm a good shot. Hey, I'm tactically sound. Hey, I'm this. And they're going to be like, no. We'll be the judge of that.
Yeah.
And then they're going to wipe the slate clean, and they're going to inventory you and find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and constantly work on them.
Yep.
And everybody's weaknesses and strengths change. You know, you may have a 10-year SWAT guy, and he's going to have different strengths and weaknesses today than in the beginning. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a life lesson. Like, never be afraid to identify your own weaknesses.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, and you learn too. Like, I remember being a new police officer and running scenarios and being so embarrassed to make mistakes. You know, you get in there and you make a mistake and you just get stuck. Mm-hmm. You make a mistake on a scenario and you're stuck for the rest of the night. Like, oh, I'm such an idiot. And the more you train and the more you do that, the more you're able to just be like, that was so dumb, and it sears itself in your brain, and then you move on.
You know, this is a weird correlation, and I bring up jiu-jitsu quite a bit, but even as a police officer, and I started doing jiu-jitsu in the military as a military police officer, but I was that guy. I was that guy that was like afraid to make mistakes, and I started taking jiu-jitsu. And you get humbled real quick because you're getting owned by a 120-pound female who's been rolling for, a year, and she's on top of her game. And you get in there, and that's the make or break point for a lot of people. The ego comes in, and they're like, oh, I just got owned by a 120-pound female. I'm done. Like, man, this ain't for me. They'll make an excuse. Or you do what I did. My mind was like, holy shit, I got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
I'm not as big and bad as I thought I was or hoped I was. Okay, I want to know what she knows, because that was awesome. Like, if she can learn that, how awesome can I get, handling myself with that? So that helped me more in police work than I ever really thought it would, just going through jiu-jitsu. And we're not even talking police training, but jiu-jitsu humbled me real fast, and it broke me down enough, like you're saying, to look at it and say, okay, these are my weaknesses. This is where I need a lot of work here, need a lot of work there. Let me get strong at that, and then let's reassess and see where we need to go from there.
Well, it's so good to learn and mature. I wish I could instill that in my kids. Like, don't hide from your weaknesses, like expose them and work on them.
Yeah.
So I decided I want to go to school, right? Which we were going to talk about, and I'm sure we will, but I decided I want to go to school, and I have all these things in the back of my head. Like, I'm not good at math. I'm not smart enough. I don't know that I could do that intense of a school load. Right.
Yeah.
And I just start at the very beginning. Like, when I decided to go back to college, I tested, they make you take that math test for Texas, and they're like, oh girl, you dumb. I had to go to the very first algebra class that you don't even get credit for.
Yeah.
Like, I went in and sat down at TCC, and they're like, oh, they drew a 1. I kid you not. They drew a 1 and a line and a 2. And the guy goes, fraction. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to make it.
Yep.
And when I drew out my plan on paper, it was such a long, what seems like forever.
Yeah.
Right. So if you make a degree plan, or you have to start at the very, very bottom, or you decide you set a goal for yourself that you want to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and people are telling you, okay, that's 6 years. And then people quit because the process seems like it's insurmountable.
Yeah.
And I just wish I could instill in people, the time's going to pass anyway.
Yep.
Like, it's going to pass.
Yeah.
Like, I am going to be 40 when I start school, and I'm starting a whole crazy different chapter. I mean, I am totally making a hard right,
Yeah.
But what else am I going to do? Like, I was going to be working anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I might as well go for it. Same thing with your wife.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at it, and there's a million reasons not to do it, but you look at my history and my experience, I can't still decide what I want to be when I grow up. Mm-hmm. But my mom, thank God she was there, and she was like, do it all.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
I love my career because, and I think this is kind of what motivated my wife. I don't know if she'll admit that, but it's the vibe I got, is that not that she gets mad, but she's like, I want that. You're like, I'm happy to go to work.
Yes.
Like, I love it. Like, I'm excited. It's fun for me. Like, it's very rarely, it happens. Everybody gets a little burnout, but very rarely am I going to work, dreading it. I'm like, I'm looking forward to it. And then, like, the team I work with currently, the guys are nothing but animals. They're go-getters. They're always focused on, like, who's the next bad guy we're getting. Because I work for a specialized unit where we only go after people that we already know are, bad. They're out taking your stuff. It's a property crimes thing, but they're breaking in your house. They're breaking in your cars. They're taking your things. They're cutting your catalytic converters off your vehicle. These are bad guys.
Yeah.
And that's not fair to hardworking people. So it's fun for me to know that I'm coming in with a whole team of people that are even more motivated than me and kick ass at doing what they do. So for you it doesn't matter what you can cut off your career. You retire. That still makes me laugh. You can retire and go after something that you're passionate about.
Yep.
I don't care what you do. Just be passionate about what you do.
I agree.
And that's how it should be. And that's like this podcast. Like, I'm passionate about it. It's fun.
It's ambitious.
Yeah. It's fun. I like doing this. I like talking to people. And very rarely do I get to sit and talk, with no interruptions, as long as the kids don't come busting through the door and the dog doesn't start barking. But and get people that either inspire me or I know nothing about. I don't care if I know the person. I want to hear their story. It'll be fun. And I've gotten some flack in the past just for people that I'm considering having on the show. And I'm like, look, I don't care who comes on the show. If they've got something that's going to help spread a message, even if they have a bad message, you could come on here and have a terrible message. People are going to know that you have a terrible message and that you're a terrible person. And that's not my fault, but at least I gave you the chance.
Yeah. And they get to make their own judgment and hear other people's perspectives.
Yes.
Like, that's another thing we do too frequently is live in an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Social media is bad for that.
I know. Look at your friends list. If your friends list is nothing but people that think the same exact way you do, you're doing yourself a disservice.
I know for a fact my friends list is not like that.
And mine is.
I got a crazy.
I got nothing but Flint people on one side, and they drive the other side of my friends list crazy.
I love it though. And there's a lot of social media gets a bad rap, but there's a lot of good conversations that go on social media. I can think of a few people right now that I do not agree with politically. I do not agree with most of their opinions, and we still respectfully have debates.
I can be your friend and not agree with a lot of your stuff.
Yeah.
Jim Fessler. You know Fessler?
Of course I do, yeah.
My dad's friend. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that old man says, but you know what? I've had a beer with him. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
He is. His heart's in the right place. We just don't agree.
Well, people are framed by their own experiences too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think it's good you're going to have differing opinions on here.
I agree. I had.
It'd be so boring if you just had the same guest in different form every time.
Like when I had Betsy on here, Betsy Price, people were like, well, you going to have Deborah Peoples on there? If she wants to. I have no problem with that. I don't care. Let her talk.
Yeah.
I may not agree with what she says, but what good does it do to not hear her perspective? At least if you listen to it, you can know for a fact you don't agree instead of just.
And you can ask her the questions you want to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. But this show is not going to be a political show, though. And that was part of the thing. Like when I had Betsy on, there was really nothing political. I just wanted her to explain what her role was with police because I didn't know. I didn't know how a mayor was affected by police or what her authority level was.
I think it'd be super boring if you put it in a box. Like you're kind of open to talking about whatever comes up. That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like shit. I told you that's an outline. If people are wondering what I'm looking at, I have a board, a whiteboard. Well, technically it's a blackboard. It's a fancy glass board. That right.
Oh, I hit myself. Jeez Louise, God.
She ran into the mic. That makes sense if you know Brandi.
Yeah, I'm very much a klutz.
I know. Anyway.
I don't know how I've made it in this job without breaking my teeth out.
One of my biggest regrets is that we never worked on the same team.
I know.
We should have. Would have been fun.
I'll come right out with you now that I'm a reserve officer.
You should. Oh my God. We have an on loan position too.
We should. We could ride out one night. I'm not going on loan to property crimes. I'd be terrible at property crimes. You see how much I move around now? I'd be like, la, 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 la. What are we doing? Someone take me to QT to get cupcakes.
Right. We were doing UC work today from like 8 in till almost 2.
Y'all, I can't.
I
that
know.
sounds like torture to me.
Like
I would be like,
hey, but we got a stolen vehicle and we got another person identified that had ran out of Lowe's with $1,000 worth of stuff. So
that's good.
Yeah. So it was productive.
I feel like UC work, I would just be terrible unless you want to send me to like one of those raves at Panther Island or something.
Oh, that would be fun.
You know,
you would blend in because you'd be dancing.
God. Like what?
I can tell you right now, y'all, I'm not going to be one of them dancing cops on social media. It's not
me either.
You're so full of shit.
Disgraceful.
Oh my God. Anyway, so where were we at? We were talking about Tac-Med.
I hit the mic again.
I know. We were talking about Tac-Med. Yeah. We kind of we skipped over that and we came back to it. And then, we were talking about the pros and cons of being a woman in policing today. So, in 14 years, like you got to see a big transition. It's almost the way I consider like when you and I got started in police work, because you started like around 06?
07, yeah.
07, okay. So that's about the time I got in.
Yep.
We went from, the way I look at it is like analog to digital. Like
it's crazy the amount of things that changed.
Yeah, I feel like my mic is slowly dipping. Like it keeps getting.
Is
more.
it?
I think I don't.
Or am I moving so much it's messing you up?
No, I just don't have this.
I move around a lot.
I didn't have this thing tight enough. That's what it was. And this mic is heavy. So anyway, yeah, the way you and I were in policing, we went from like no body cameras to, taser was still kind of a new thing and all of that to look at where we're at today.
For sure.
As a female, you have a different perspective than what I have. So what were the good things that you saw and what with women in policing, and then like has anything changed? Has it gotten worse? Has it gotten better for females over time?
I don't know. I feel like that's a hard question for me because a lot of the issues that women bring up, and I don't want to invalidate their perspective, but I've never had a bad experience. Mm-hmm. I've never had a problem with a male that I thought was because I'm a female. I don't know. I think it'd be easy for me to be like, oh, so-and-so doesn't like me. It's because I'm a woman. No, it's probably because you're a bitch. Like,
it's awesome.
I mean, I'm serious. Right. Like I'm talking about my own self. So I could say that, right? Like, I feel like that's never going to be my go-to. Like, I don't see things as a woman police officer. I see things like, okay, people aren't personally going to like you.
Yeah.
People are going to talk about you because
that's the military in you. Everybody's green.
Maybe.
Everybody's green. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see the bigger picture of issues for women in law enforcement just because I fail to see it like that.
Okay.
Like if there may be people out there that don't like me because I'm a woman, but I'm never going to see it unless they just flat out tell me, because I'll just assume that you don't like me because of my personality, or we have a personality conflict, or I
which I could see why your personality would conflict with most people.
I do too, honestly. I mean, either you love me or hate me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's very many people that are like, oh, she's all right. Like either people are like, they can't stand me. They've had enough. Like I'm too much and they don't like me, and that's fine. Cause I get it. I'm out there. Right. Or they're a fan of me and like me and like my personality, but I'm fine with either. Like I'm good. I know.
Yeah.
Like I'm not for everybody. That's fine. But I don't go to I don't know. Like if you and I worked together and you didn't like me and you were always making shitty comments to me, I wouldn't be like, he doesn't like females. I'd be like, he doesn't like me. It's fine. Like whatever. Yeah. So I don't really know.
That's a personality flaw I have.
What?
It bothers me when people don't like me.
It does?
It does. Okay, let me take that back. It doesn't bother me if they don't like me. It bothers me if they don't like me as a worker. Like, oh, he works too hard, or people probably don't ever say that. He works too hard, but he's doing it to stack his resume. He's doing it.
You got to stop with that.
I know. It's a stupid thing to think about.
Well, but look, I've put myself out there on social media and people still talk about me. Like, oh, I'm attention seeking, or I want to do it for my own self, glorification, or whatever the things that they might say. Yeah. And I'm like, have you ever asked me? Because very few people have ever asked me, why do you do that? They just assume. Yeah. So then if you've got it wrong in your own head and you haven't asked me, I'm sorry about your luck, because you're probably not right. If you're hating on me for doing this, then you're not asking me the right questions, because the reason I do it is like the best reason in the world. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, because the reason I'm doing this is for Hallie, ultimately. Yeah. That is what sparked.
We're not to Hallie yet.
Oh, my bad.
I saved the best for last. Look at that list. What's the last one? That's the best for last.
Okay, yeah, okay. We'll back up on that. Yes. But so the issues with women in law enforcement, like I've never been harassed. I've never, or if
that's because your mom.
Well, if it meant someone else, it's because of my mom is what it is, because my mom raised me. If you have a problem with something somebody says, well, I went from my mom's home to the military. So I was raised in a very strong environment where if you say something that pushes the limit with me, I'm going to look at you right then and be like, that was the line. Like, shut up. Yeah. I'm not going to run off later and be like, oh, I'm going to tell on you. Like, it's going to be zip it. Like that was the line, Yeah.
So what you're saying is, if you have a problem with somebody, the first thing you should do is bring that to that person's attention and not go to like some secret, like IA or something like that.
Well, if you feel safe, I have to be careful what I say, right? Because not everybody's me. But I also feel like, and this is my own personal opinion, so not reflective of anyone else or any department or anything like that. But like, I feel like we're card carrying police officers. We should be able to have a discussion face to face about like what our problems are with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean,
Yep.
and especially like, how can I go to a family violence situation and intervene and stand up for someone? I've got to be willing to practice what I preach, right? And tell people like, that's the line. Don't talk to me like that, or that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Or shut the hell up, or y'all are disgusting, or remove myself from the situation. But I really haven't heard like or seen a lot of that. Like my work environments have always been really good. Yeah, it may be partially because people don't do that to me because I have my mom.
Yeah. And my personal belief, because I think you're a lot like me when it comes to this. I told you I'm going to have fun no matter what position I'm in.
Yeah.
I don't care where I'm at. When I went to the detective's office, what's the stigma you hear about people that promote for the first time to, oh, you're just going to get stacked with cases and they never stop and it sucks. And that's the attitude that is culturally pushed on you before you ever even promote.
Isn't that terrible? Some people are poison.
Right.
And they poison our younger officers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I've never had that situation. If I won't lie, I've gotten to points where I get a little burnout where I'm like, oh, it's the same thing over and over. I need to do something new. But I'm always having fun. And every unit that I've been to, I've told people, I haven't had a bad sergeant. I've had sergeants that have been bad for other people.
Yeah.
But not to me. And I don't know if that has a lot to do with my attitude towards things.
Maybe.
And I think that's kind of how you are. Like, it's our attitude towards shit where we're just like, I'm going to have fun. I don't care.
It only bothers me if people don't like me if I have respect for them.
Yeah.
So that's like always my first question.
Yeah.
And people have talked about me a lot.
That's fair.
A lot. Personally, professionally.
Yeah.
A lot. I've been a topic of conversation and I've heard rumors about myself and all kinds of things. Number one, a lot of them are completely, totally off base and we won't even go into that, but I'm telling the truth. And then I feel like unless it's one of the guys on my team or one of my supervisors or somebody that I have respect for, then why would I worry?
Yeah.
Because, like I read this thing on social media one time that was like a grandmother that was talking and she was like telling her grandchild, people, when they talk about you, they spend that 15 seconds and they spit out whatever they're going to say about you and then they move on in their day. So if I tell someone you're an a-hole, I'm not going to spend the rest of my day thinking about that.
But I will.
But you will.
Yeah.
Isn't that such a waste?
Dick.
Yeah, because you're thinking about what they said about you for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, all day long.
I know personally for me, it's because I get emotionally invested into my work.
Yeah.
Because I love it. I love what I do. And I'm not saying I'm the best worker, but I take pride in what I do. So if I put out a crappy product, it wasn't intentional. It's just...
Yeah.
But that crappy product, I'm like, look at that shiny turd. I did a good job.
And then if somebody comes over, shiny turd, you're like, how dare you call my shiny turd a shiny turd?
Yeah. And I'm like, I worked really hard on that. That's mean. No, I'm not that way. But yeah, like if somebody, I don't know why. I don't know.
I mean, it's hard to be. It's hard to.
It is. I do.
It's hard.
I do.
And I'm not saying I'm always in a good mood. For the love of God, people that have worked with me are going to see this. But I do try really hard to be self-aware. And I've had to go to the guys before and be like, hey, sorry I'm being a hag. It's just me. I'm in a mood.
Right.
Like, my bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm being a bee. I know it.
Yeah. That's because all you do is date firefighters. So...
I'm reformed.
Part of your problem.
Yeah. They're like, once you call it out, like, hey, I'm in a really bad mood, it's like game on.
It is. If you work with a good unit, it is.
Yeah. It's like, oh, she's in a crappy mood today.
Let's poke the bear.
Yeah. Well, it's like a telltale sign if I come in and I'm not wearing lashes.
Oh, those aren't your lashes?
Oh, are you kidding me? These tarantulas, look at them. They go all the way up on my eyebrow. I glue these bad boys on.
Mine have always touched my, well, maybe my eyebrows have always touched my eyelashes.
Maybe it's like a mix. They're growing together.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have ridiculous lashes. I'm so big on the no filter thing on social media. Like, I don't like the beauty filters or whatever.
Well, as you saw the pictures I posted of you, the very first one, when you text me, that's my picture.
That one?
Yeah.
I love that photo.
Well, because before it was a bad picture for a long time.
Because people take themselves too seriously.
Yes.
People are so worried about,
Yeah.
What they look like all the time. And
Right.
these
Speaking
filters
of
are terrible.
Speaking of look, this is the first time I've had hair since '06.
Had hair.
Yeah, I've shaved my head since I joined the military. I've shaved my head. I was like, it like released me when I went to the military. Like, I don't have to do my hair.
Why are you growing it out now?
So I'm growing it out now because my wife, I just changing it up. Just changing it up. Like,
how you say your wife and then just drop it off? You're trying to keep her interested. You're like, look, Eric's not here right now.
I asked her. I said, "What would you think?" Because I needed a haircut.
Yeah,
that was the thing. And she
I
cuts
like
my
it.
hair.
It's nice.
And I said, "Hey, what if I grew it out?" She's like, "I like your hair growing out." I was like, bet I got
enthusiastically.
it. Yeah.
See,
and so
you're a good husband.
So I was like, all right, I'll grow it out. I just don't know what to do with it. So
no, it looks good. It's like, I hit it again.
I know it's good.
It's off to the side.
Yeah, I'm trying.
I like it.
I need to get it done by somebody that knows what they're doing a little
Call the
better.
SWAT guys.
Do they cut each other's hair?
No.
I get it. So I'm trying to go to more of a barber than a.
You're going to end up, what if like the next time I see you have like a line in your eyebrow and it's like a hard part right here?
Well, I am going to have a hard part.
I like the hard part.
Yeah, I do like the hard part.
Yeah.
So, but I want it to be more shaved. I want it more of a, I'm trying to go like easier transition, like from shaved head to.
No, just go all in.
No, I'm not going.
Yes.
I'm not doing like the Novak. Like that. I'm not doing the Novak. God.
He's going to hear you.
Good. I hope his big ass hears me. I'll fight. He sucks at jiu-jitsu, so I just need him not to hit me.
Or sit on you.
Yeah. No, he can sit on me.
Oh my god.
He's tried. I heard he gave up powerlifting too, so. I know. So
just jabbing him.
Anyway, okay. So now that you're somewhat removed from policing, what issues are you seeing that you think need to be addressed? Is there anything?
I feel like it's hard. I have my opinion, but I'm not, I wish that we would recruit the best of the best.
Okay.
Instead of worrying about keeping up with
perception.
Yeah.
I see.
I feel like the Marine Corps got that right. Like, I like the recruiting style of bet you can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bet you can't.
Yeah.
Like, this is so hard that I bet you can't do it. Like, I feel like that is such a challenge, and it recruits like the best people instead of scooping up people and saying, anyone can do this. Come on. Yeah. Because that's dangerous.
Right.
Right.
I don't think that anyone can do it. I don't think that just anybody can. I don't think
anybody can be a police officer.
I know for a fact I cannot be a doctor. I can't be a physician assistant. I can't be a railroad worker.
Right.
I can't.
I don't have a Victoria's Secret model, and just because I go and tell them that that's what I want to do doesn't mean that they're going to tell me yes. Okay. You can.
Yeah. I mean,
you can. We're going to let you because you deserve to be a Victoria's Secret model. What if it was like that?
We'll get you to where you need to be.
Yeah, come on, Brandi. Like, you're all right. You're a solid 6. We're gonna let you in just because we feel like we want to be inclusive.
Like size 6 or a 6?
Size 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in second grade.
I see your show.
Oh, God. What is wrong with you?
I don't know. It hasn't. It doesn't move. So
yours moved.
Well, up and down, not towards me.
God. I'm terrible at this.
Yeah. And I'm getting boom mics. They just didn't have them in at the time.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean by the boom mic?
Over
the arm. Yeah, so you can move it up and down, back and forth.
Okay.
A lot easier. These are supposed to be for the guest because I have enough mics for 4 people.
Well, I just need to stop moving around so much. I'm fidgety.
I'm just glad you're like one of the first guests other than Gino to speak, and Chris, because Chris knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Chris helped me out a lot with all this.
Yeah.
But talking into the mic.
For sure.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people that are like, so I was
and you're like, hey, come back over here.
Even Zentino.
So we can hear you.
Was supposed to be my little coachie. Speaking of Zentino, he's been on vacation. So people are like, I thought he was like your co-host. Like, listen, he's my unofficial co-host. I try to have him on here when we can.
Yeah.
And I got him put on my picture because we started this thing. You know, I got it all going, and I was like, I just want, a coachies when I can have them.
For sure.
So I got him, and I'm going to lean on Gino too a little bit. So have Gino on here.
That'd be
a little bit more for a I don't know my Ed McMahon, if you will.
I like it. That
Yeah.
will be like the more people, the more
Yeah.
shenanigans.
I just want to be able to have another person to bounce things off of when we have a guest, if we can. Don't look at your watch.
I don't know what I did.
Don't worry about it.
I hit it too. It's buzzing.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just got a new watch today. It's funny you say that.
You did.
So, yeah.
My watch makes me feel really bad about myself because sometimes I won't do anything but like get out of bed and stand up, and it's like, good job.
You've taken 2 steps in 24 hours.
You're doing better today than you did yesterday. I'm like, shut up. I didn't wear you yesterday.
Quit judging me.
Yeah.
God.
Rude. I'm going to lower my standard on my watch to make me feel better. Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay. So, fixing wise, I get what you're saying. Okay. So, let's switch gears again.
Okay.
I want you, so you've had an awesome career. You did your military, Army vet, medic, combat style medic training, stuff like that you brought into police work. You revamped one of the top 13 departments in the nation and got them going on a Tac-Med unit. And not only did you get a Tac-Med unit, you've trained 1,700 some odd officers to learn the same skill set. So I love that. And now you are an example for women, even though that's not really your goal. I get it. But it's one of the reasons I wanted you on there, because you got this girl power vibe to you. And, and I like having, at least from the police side, I like being able to say, this isn't like any girl is like, I can't do that job. Look at this. Look what she did. Like, or Stephanie Ricks or Angie Mapes.
People that don't have the excuses.
Yeah. Like
don't use it as an excuse. I got that from my mom though. She always told me like, don't ever use being a woman as an excuse.
Yeah.
And then she also said, you don't have to look like, talk like, walk like, or dress like a man to do this job.
Yeah.
So you, and the other big piece of advice I got from both of our parents actually was, if there was a fight, you better be in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was it. Those were the big ones. Like,
in cop work, absolutely.
Yeah, like that was it. Like, you don't have to be anything other than who you are, but be proficient.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I took that to heart. I mean, look at me with my lashes and my nails, and still.
You're a unique Clydesdale.
Thank you.
You're like
I'm a show Clydesdale.
You're like a unicorn Clydesdale.
I am a unicorn.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
If anybody can find a unicorn Clydesdale stuffed animal.
Unicorn Clydesdale.
I need that donated to the show.
I love it.
So,
you can put it on your shelf in here.
Okay. So I reached out to Humanizing the Badge. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it respectfully because I don't know all the social media rules and all that stuff yet. Yeah. So I knew I had this show and I was like, you know what? I really like Officer Daniel and Officer Mike. Like those two dudes crack me up. And I knew they had an organization of some sort. I just didn't know it was called Humanizing the Badge. I didn't realize that. I was just like, #Humanize the Badge, because that's kind of what this show's about. It's a little more than just that. We've talked about that. But anyway, so Humanizing the Badge. So I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I got this show. I didn't want to just try to post it on your page. So I was wondering if, you mind taking a look at it and tell me what you think, any advice or anything like that. Maybe share it if you feel like it. And they reached out to me and it was, I can't.
David. Mm-hmm.
Dr. David, right?
Yep.
I just remember it had doctor in the thing. So he reached out to me. Hey, he's like, I'm going to decline your request, but I want you to talk to me about it. Tell me what you got. And then we just had this long conversation about Humanizing the Badge and how it's not a company, but a nonprofit like thing where they're trying to do this stuff and that they've kind of got that trademarked. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm glad you told me that because I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. But I started realizing how big that network was. I didn't know you were on that.
What?
I didn't know. I didn't understand. I knew you guys were friends and I knew you guys talked to each other on social media, but I didn't realize it was a thing. So that was, like I said, I'm dumb. And
that's okay.
I just didn't get it. And he was explaining that to me. So he's like, oh, you know Brandi? I was like, yeah, I know Brandi. I know Matt. And he's like, oh, yeah, we all work for the same place. And, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And so that kind of opened the door a little bit more for me. But I can't explain it nearly as well as you can because I just started learning about it. So I want you to tell me about Humanizing the Badge.
So Humanizing the Badge started, there were a few people that were instrumental in starting Humanizing the Badge. It was a law enforcement wife at the time named Tristy, and she's like one of my best friends now, Tristy, and then Officer Daniels, Mike the cop. This group of them, they decide that they're going to travel the United States to these places that are in turmoil because of police incidents and bring the police officers of that area together with the community and do projects. So they would do like cleaning up, bad areas of the city, or having sit downs with people, or bringing in, for example, one trip I went on, we went to juvenile and met with all the juvenile kids that are there that are they've been locked up, and talking to them about where we're from and what our past is, and how, you would be good at this because you are from Flint. So people would assume by seeing you, you're raised with a silver spoon in your mouth. You have no idea. You have no frame of reference. And then you're here like, all right, my turn. And then it just blows their mind. Right.
Yeah.
So that was the concept behind it was, hey, let's bridge the gap and let's talk human to human. We have to let them know, like, we come from a vast array of experiences. So they created a nonprofit to do that. And they really, these big social media names. I mean, if you don't know Officer Daniels, Mike the cop, they've got millions.
Who's the one I didn't know that the dancing dude, the Kingery?
Oh, Kingery. Officer Kingery. He's a TikTok guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's not humanizing the badge?
No.
Okay.
But Oh No the Popo is.
Oh no.
Yeah, his name's Oh No the Popo.
I don't know that.
He's got millions of followers too. So,
okay.
But I mean, combined,
yeah,
they are, millions.
Okay.
I don't, across all social media platforms.
So we got rookie numbers.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Well, I got rookie number. Even I'm like, what?
Well,
I look at her numbers like, what the fuck?
No, and the only reason I have that many followers is because of those guys.
Yeah.
Because they took me under their wing.
Networking.
And we would have to skip down to tell you how I got involved with them. But basically, I reached out to Officer Daniels for help sharing something for another project that we'll talk about in a minute.
Okay.
And he ended up messaging me back. And I was like, holy crap. Because I knew it was going to make such a huge difference.
Yeah.
Because the amount of people that he has access to, and he's like one of the best human beings, like all these guys that I'm naming, like all the Humanizing the Badge crew.
Who's the female comedian?
That's Chelsea Lynn.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's the running buddy. She's not
the court joke. I like, that's the funniest thing.
She is hilarious. And she's an amazing human being too. They're all so good. But yeah, he ended up reaching back out to me and was like, hey, tell me what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to do this project with this little girl, blah, blah, blah. I tell him about it. And he's like, I want to help you any way I can. Like he had run across it at one point in a group, me sharing about it. Then a year later, I shared it again. He couldn't find me again. Couldn't remember my name. Couldn't find me. He was like, dang it, I missed it. So then a year later, I shared it again in the group again. And he hit me up on my DM and was like, I want to help. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Did he slide?
I cried. Yeah, he slid into my DMs. Officer Daniel slid into my DMs.
That's what I thought. I just learned that technique.
Yeah, for sure. And it was in the middle of the night. And I was like, holy crap. And I was wide awake as soon as he texted me because I was like, this could be a game changer for what we were trying to do, right?
With his following, for sure.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm going to do whatever I can do to help you. So it morphed into him flying down here to help me. Him, Tristy, a guy named Chris Fisher, who does a lot of stuff with Humanizing the Badge as well. These guys flew in and met me. And at the time, these guys all had millions of followers. They're traveling the United States, doing the Humanizing the Badge. Really recognizable names. I have my own personal Facebook and that's it. Like, I am not in it for any of this. Like, I don't have any desire to be the social media cop, right? So they come in and they end up at that visit for this other project, asked me to come on board. And I was like blown away.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't bring anything to the table here. I'm sorry. Like, I don't have any followers. I don't even have a public page. I have my personal page that has my kids on it. And Officer Daniels was just very frank with me. And he was like, hey, listen, if you start showing up on our lives and on our stuff, people are going to start looking for you, and they will find your page and they will dig through it, and you're just better off getting a separate page. So originally, when I created the Officer Brandi page, it was just to protect my own personal page from them looking for it.
Yeah.
So that when he was with me, he could tag this other page and kind of stop it in its tracks, right? Like, here's the public page. This is who this is. Well, I made a couple of posts, but when you hang out with him a couple of times, it's over. Like, the fall, it just kept going up, 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 up. Well, we started using that page to try and do charity work and all that. And I traveled with Humanizing the Badge, and I've become a part of Humanizing the Badge. And I'm honored that they chose me. There's only a handful of us.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome. They do really, really good work.
That's
you
great.
want to talk about fundraising?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where it's at. Like, I would get rid of my social media, but you can raise so much money for a good cause if you do it the right way on social media. I'm mind blown.
Yeah. No.
So
okay.
Yeah.
So you got with those guys, and then they offered you, is it like a membership? I don't know how that works.
Well, I'm a rep. I'm a representative.
A rep.
For them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Very cool.
So basically they fundraise, and like for example, 2 weeks ago for 3 years ago? 3 years ago for Police Week.
Okay.
We all flew out there, and that is a crazy experience. Like, you're flying out to Police Week and people are like coming up to you like, hey, I know you.
Yeah.
You know, Officer Daniels can't go anywhere. Anywhere.
I bet.
I mean, anywhere.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, come over here. Like, you got grown police officers asking for his autograph and stuff. I'm like, what is going on? This is crazy.
That's weird.
It is.
I'm not an autograph guy. Like,
Neither.
I had the autographs that, like, I got Jay Novacek's autograph, and
I feel like you should start like an autograph thing in here. You should have everybody sign that comes to visit. It'd be kind of cool. You should take that wall right there and hang up a whole thing.
Yeah.
And then have everybody like sign and put
idea.
the date on it. That'd be so fun.
I could get this printed out.
Yes.
And then just have people just start signing all over.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be fun.
That'd be something for you to have forever.
Yeah.
Because 10 years from now, you might be like, those are my first 100 guests on that poster.
Yeah. We'll see.
That'd be cool.
I'm trying.
You
I'm
never
trying.
know.
If this is a money pit.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah. So we'll see how long the wife lets me. So,
she's like, your dream is over.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You are killing us. So, no. Yeah. That's a good idea. I might have to do that. I think this is doing well. I've only been at this like 60 days.
That's good.
And it's taken off. So I'm having fun. I like the process. Just like your humanizing the badge thing. It was like nothing. Then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So,
just wait.
Yeah. So, okay. So you do humanizing the badge. You've been on that 3 years ish.
Yeah. 3, 4.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right. And then the thing that got you into humanizing the badge.
Yes.
This is the big one, guys. This is, Brandi got me involved in this one as well. Between her and Chris. I don't know. I don't even remember why I was asked. I don't remember, honestly, because you and Chris reached out to me asking me if I wanted to be a part of this thing.
Yeah.
So, but you explain the thing because it's
I feel like we got to start from the beginning.
Okay.
So, I'm a police officer. I'm at the academy doing training with SWAT, and they had done an event for terminally ill and seriously diagnosed children where we make them junior police officers. So I thought that was super cool. Like, I didn't even know we did that.
I didn't.
But I guess that was like the second time they had done it, maybe first or second. Well, my mom, because she's a chief, they brought her over there, and they're like, she was part of it and she went to it. Well, there was this little girl there, and she had pigtails and shorts and pink cowboy boots on, and just like all attitude, right? Like, she's so spunky.
Right.
And my mom called me and was like, hey, well, I just met your mini-me. Can you come down here? And I'm like, Mom, leave me alone. I'm training with SWAT right now. It's kind of a big deal. You know, like, no, but I'm like, Mom, I can't stop what I'm doing right now. And she's like, okay, I'm going to bring her down there to you. I'm like, okay. So I meet this little girl, and just instantly she is just a little spitfire, like awesome little girl. And they introduced me to her, and they tell me that She has a rare condition called, at the time, she had diamond black fan anemia. So basically what that means in layman's terms, and to try and simplify it as much as possible so people can understand, if your bone marrow is like a factory, right? The factory kicks out red blood cells. Well, red blood cells carry oxygen, which is food for your body. So her bone marrow or her red blood cell factory had shut down. It's supposed to constantly be producing red blood cells. Her bone marrow did not do that anymore. So whatever red blood cells she has in her body, that was it. So what they would have to do with her from the time that she was 18 months old, she would get severely anemic or lack red blood cells, right? And she would have to go in and get blood transfusions. Yeah. And that blood transfusions would kick her red blood cells back up to where she could, be at an acceptable level. So they do this, and in order to keep the immune system from fighting those red blood cells that they give her bone marrow transfusions for, they put them on steroids. Well, here's the dangerous part, is that eventually these children get steroid resistant. And when they get steroid resistant, that's it. You can no longer give them the blood transfusions because they'll die. So they had been waiting to find a bone marrow match. She needed a bone marrow transplant. So what would happen is if Hallie needs a bone marrow transplant, we take the bone marrow factory from another person, we duplicate it, and then we rebuild her a new factory in her body via transfusion.
And that's a cure.
That's a cure, which means if she finds a bone marrow transplant donor, a bone marrow donor, that she is cured of her disease, period.
Right.
So they had been looking from the time she was 18 months old. I think she was 8 at the time? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's like 8. And they were still looking. So they have been swabbing people. The way that you get tested for bone marrow transplant compatibility is bethematch.com and y'all can find this on the Team Hallie B website if you're following along. It's Team Hallie, HALLIE, BBEA.org. And what they do is you swab with Be the Match, and they just do a cheek swab inside of your mouth with a Q-tip. And then they ship it off to the bone marrow registry and you get put on it. Then if you were a match for someone, you do transplant one of two ways. One is they take blood out of your arm, put it through a machine and put it back in. That's like 75% of the time that happens. 75 to 80% of the time, it's going to be much like donating blood, right? Only it's a longer transfusion process. Then the other small percentage of the time, they will have to knock you out, do surgery, and draw bone marrow out of your hip, right?
Okay.
They will take that bone marrow, put it in the kid or whoever it is that you're donating to, and then they're cured of their disease. So that was where Hallie was at. Her family was looking for this bone marrow match. And I just instantly fell in love with her. Honestly, they were running scenarios and they were having people pretend to be bad guys. And she just grabbed me by my hand. And she's like, will you be my bad guy? I'm like, of course I will. Because by now we're done training. So I'm like, of course I will. So I go in there and I'm like being her bad guy. Well, all these other kids, they're all chemo kids, really sick kids and fragile children. And she is too, but she doesn't act like it. I mean, she came into our scenario and I'm the bad guy. And all these other kids are like, get down on the ground. They're like behind their parent, like, get down on the ground. And their parents are kind of encouraging them, like, go put them under arrest. Here comes Hallie with her cowboy boots. She's like, get on the ground now. You're going to jail. And I'm like, holy crap. She jumped on me. She was twisting my arm back and her mom's like, oh my gosh, Hallie. And she's like, I said you're going to jail. Do it now. I'm like, oh my God.
That's awesome.
Yes. And I'm like, I love this child. So at the end of the day, her mom is like, I hate to be awkward, but is there any way that I can get your number so that you can have a play date with my daughter? Because we have the same IQ basically. Right. And so I'm like, sure. I'm like, of course I will. So I fell in love with them, and I don't even remember how it happened or what those first few visits were that we did. But as a mom, I'm looking at her mom and I'm like, oh, I cannot imagine being dependent on the kindness and selflessness of strangers to save my child's life. Yeah. And that's the situation that they were in. None of her family was a match. Mm-hmm. Brother, sister weren't a match. Parents aren't a match. There's nothing they can do. Literally, you're just going out there trying to find the needle in the haystack for your child. Can you imagine? I just can't. It kills me. People are like, oh, you're so awesome for what you do. And I'm like, it's not me. Like, how can you not? How can you not? Like, I have my children. I look at my babies and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot imagine just waiting on some stranger. I would give my life for my children.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. And she's waiting on someone to not be scared of surgery. So we're waiting on people trying to add people to the bone marrow registry. And this is my passion now, people. So bethematch.org, you know, you swab and get on there. The more mixed you are or different ethnicities, it's going to be it's going to be a rarity to find a match. So like if you're straight up, both your parents are white, you have a okay chance of finding a match. If you're half Mexican, half white, your chances go down significantly. So the more mixed people that we can get, we need Black people, Mexican people, we need Asian people, we need everybody really, because we're all so mixed now. But you have to be like a perfect 10-point match in order to donate. So random.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with blood type. So Hallie had one blood type. Oh, well, let me back up. So we decide at one point, and Eric was part of this, we decided that we were going to raise awareness for bone marrow donation by doing lip sync videos. And I just want to go on record here and say we beat this trend. Lip sync videos were not a thing when we did our lip sync video.
That's true.
They were not. And it did not take off and it went nowhere. And then people started making lip sync videos and they're going viral. And we're like, what in the world? We're trying so hard, you know? So we will never know if we had anything to do with it. But at some point, Hallie finds her match.
Yes.
So Hallie finds her match. By this time, I had been asked to be on the board of Hallie's Heroes. I am the vice president of fundraising for Hallie's Heroes. And that is what I use my pages for, really. So if you're watching this and you're like, I'm just a big Officer Brandi fan, just know I'm using you because I want your bone marrow.
Right.
I want your money for children's cancer and rare diseases. Like it's
not a bad thing.
It's what it is. Like, I just want you guys to help me. I need help. The more people that my page reaches for whatever reason, like I post a gym pic and it goes everywhere. So go ahead and get me some followers so I can get some more people on the bone marrow registry, like whatever.
Yep.
So I am the vice president now. We do these videos. Hallie gets a match and we are just ecstatic about it. Oh my gosh. I just can't even tell you. So we get her in. So cool. The process of getting a bone marrow match. So for these kids, people don't know this. Hallie needed a bone marrow match. So what they have to do is kill her immune system. So she got more chemo in a 7-day period than your average child gets in an entire cancer diagnosis. I mean, they wipe you out. She had to live in a bubble. And there were only a few people that could be up there with her. I was honored to be one of her caretakers. I actually have a medical power of attorney for Hallie, which I keep threatening to tell her mom, like, I'm going to take her to get tattoos.
Nice. I'm in.
Yeah, her mom's like,
I'm in.
that is not what that's for. And I'm like, nope, you didn't put enough specifications in here. I can like literally take her.
Do you have tattoos yet?
No, I have 0 tattoos.
I got my first one.
That's your first one?
Yep. It's my only one.
Oh, see,
No.
I know. That would be a good reason to get one.
I waited till I was 37.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid to start. If I start, it might be over.
Yeah.
I dig tattoos.
They're addicting. I want more.
Yeah, I really.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I interrupted.
No. You're fine.
Yeah.
So we're up there and we're like giving, Hallie gets her bone marrow transplant, which chemo for kids is a whole different podcast. You should have her on at some point.
Trust me. I've reached out to her mom on Facebook.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'll let her know too.
Yeah.
And so it's terrible. It's brutal. And I just became like engrossed in this advocacy for these children. Like people don't understand that these parents, you know, we want to bury our head in the sand because we don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at sick kids. I don't want to see it.
That's why I don't do CACU.
That's a downer, right? Yeah. But what you don't realize is these parents of these kids that are sick, they're done. They're just exhausted. It's all they can do to survive. I mean, they're living a life that people do not get. You don't understand it. If you have more than one child, you've got one parent with the other children, and then you're just flip-flopping. You may not even see your spouse for like months. Like you're just going back and forth with your kids, right? Yeah. Kids don't get to see each other. There's all this stress. You're not getting sleep because the hospital is not meant for sleep. And they just don't have it in them. By the time they're done with their diagnosis, they're like, whew, They can finally exhale. So I feel like it takes people that don't have sick kids to really step in and be advocates and be like, you know, we're going to make this our work. So we get Hallie's bone marrow match. She is 100 days post transplant. So, which means she's finally at that mark where she's like, yes, I'm done. I'm healed. She no longer has diamond black fan anemia. Super cool fact. When she got her bone marrow transplant, her blood type changed because they completely killed the other immune system. And then this new person's bone marrow, when the factory kicked up, it kicks out a different type of blood type. Wow. Also, if her donor was allergic to peanut butter,
she would be allergic to it.
Yes.
What?
Is that not cool?
That is cool.
That's kind of interesting.
I like the nerdy stuff.
Yeah, I'm a nerd too. I think that's super cool.
That is cool.
So 100 days post transplant, and we're actually going to go to a movie. Me, Hallie, and her mom Elise. We're all going to go to a movie. And Hallie had a bug bite on her leg, on her thigh. And her mom's like, hey, you know, this bug bite is still here. And I swear to you, I think it's grown. And I'm like, well, how long has it been? She's like, it's been like a week. I'm like, no. Like, Hallie's a rare bird at this point. Like, you have to call for everything. Yeah. Like, she's not a normal child by any means. So she's like, okay, I'm going to call. So she calls me back. She's like, they told me to go to the ER. Will you meet us there? I'm like, yes. So we go to the ER with Hallie. They do an x-ray. They come in, and it is plain to see to the naked eye that there is something in there, and it's a tumor. So Elise loses it. I'm losing it. And we're both trying to like hold back tears in this room with Hallie because she just got done. I mean, she's still bald from chemo. She still looks sick. She's like just barely but got her head above water. Right. And here we are like, and so she's like, what's wrong with y'all? And we're like, well, baby, like we're worried. And she's like, what for? They haven't even told us anything yet. And we're just like, you're so matter of fact. Yeah. So at the time she's 11 or 10 at the time. And she's like, we tell her, we're like, best case scenario, what do you think it is? And she's like, well, I'm hoping that it's my long lost twin that is going to grow out of my leg, and they're going to cut it out, and it's going to have like teeth and hair in a ball. And we're like, gross. Right?
Nasty.
Like, yeah, but it's so funny. I'm like, that's me as a child, probably. Yeah. I'm like such a science weirdo. Yeah. And we're like, well, we don't think that's what it is. And we're like, what do you think it is? Worst case scenario? She goes, well, worst case scenario is probably a tumor, and it might be cancer. And we're just looking at her like, dang, this child, like, she's on it. Yep. And she's like, her mom's just crying, and she's like, Mom. And I'm telling you, I was in the room. This is not third-hand information. She put her hand on her mom's shoulder and goes, Mom, don't cry. If I have cancer, it's because there's other kids in here that we're supposed to meet, that we're supposed to help. And I'm like, dude, my whole life, like, I will never forget that. Yeah. Like, what child, old soul, right? 85-year-old woman in a 10-year-old body says some stuff like that. Yeah. So it turns out it was cancer. It was osteosarcoma. Through a long process, they ended up having to amputate her leg. And she ended up with a rotation plasty, which means they turned her leg around backwards and reattached it. I'm not going to try to describe that on a podcast because it really takes some pictures. Yeah. So it's called a rotation plasty, and you can Google it, and there's little cartoon videos. If you follow Hallie's Heroes or you see it, her leg is on backwards. Her ankle is turned around facing the other way. Her foot's backwards at the knee level, and that will help with her prosthetic later. And Hallie chose it. She likes to be weird. Snaky, she named it because when she brings it up, her foot faces like a snake. Yeah. You really got to go look at it if you haven't seen it. I know. And she is awesome. She's just, she asked me if I would take her to Target and roll her around because she wanted people to stare at her. Because when she caught people staring, she wanted to scream, what happened to my leg? Someone called 911. And I'm like, no.
That's great.
She was a shark attack victim for Halloween. She poured blood all over her backwards leg and then made all the nurses dress up as sharks.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So what's her status right now?
She is good. She is 1 year post cancer treatment. They have called her no evidence of disease, which means that technically right now she's in remission. I think they don't officially call that until the 5-year mark, but they are waiting on her leg to heal a little more, and then she's going to be up on a prosthetic here before you know it. Okay. Yeah. So
Nice.
this is my biggest advocacy, right? Is the Hallie's Heroes thing, because everything else I do is just really a sub goal to that.
Yeah.
I really feel like these kids are amazing, and there's so little funding for cancer research and rare diseases that I know I'm just a small ripple in the pond, but I know it's cheesy, but whoever said that quote, like, you may not make a difference in the world, but I made a difference in Hallie's world. I can one by one pick one child at a time and make a difference in one child at a time. And if everybody would do that, maybe someone would listen.
Yep.
Because there's no funding.
And I think that's the benefit of, and this is kind of where this idea came from, is like, we're not using social media the way I think it should be used.
Right.
We're underutilizing it.
Right.
As people that do the type of professions we do, whether it's medical or fire or whatever it is. This is what it's for. It's to improve everything around us.
Well, it can be.
It should be.
Yeah.
And nobody, up until you told me the other day, I didn't even know there was other officers that were starting podcasts or had podcasts going. I don't know if they're doing the same thing I'm doing, but I've looked. This is...
You don't worry about what other people are doing.
Well, what I meant was I just want other people to utilize it this way. I don't care if I'm the only one, or if there's 15 other people that pop up after this that are like, no, he's doing a good thing, I'm going to copy that. It's
like, yeah, me too. Because I was one of the last, like, I'm definitely not the first, like, police officer advocate on social media. I'm definitely not the last. I mean, people have come on and boom, they have, doubled my followers in a day.
Yeah.
But I'm like, for me, locally, I just want to raise money for these kids that are in our local DFW area. Like, and we pour money into them through social media. It's crazy the amount of money you can raise.
Yeah.
And we, through Hallie's Heroes, that's what Hallie's Heroes does. So Hallie's Heroes will take scholarship applications from families that have rare diseases or kids with cancer. And people don't realize this. So Hallie's parents are fully insured. Okay. Fully insured. And they're like millions of dollars in debt.
Wow.
They will pay for that for the rest of their lives. And so it's like, there are people that have sick children that have to choose which specialist they want to see, because the specialist requires $3,000, $2,000, $1,000 before they will be seen. So you have kids that are multi-system sick that need to see a cardiologist, nephrologist, neurologist, or whatever. They're having to choose which specialist to see. Isn't that sick?
Yeah.
There's something wrong with our nation. If I could change one thing, if I could change like one big law, it would be no one under 18. Like, we take care of childcare, or I mean, not childcare. You can watch your own kids. We take care of healthcare for all kids until they reach 18. I feel like that. I don't mind my tax money going to that. Yeah. Like, we have a kid with cancer. There is no reason that this baby's family should be millions of dollars in debt. Her dad's a Marine, combat, tried and true Marine, comes back, he's working. Elise had to quit her job to be a full-time sick mom, cancer mom. And they struggle to make ends meet. For what reason? They didn't do anything. Hallie wasn't out smoking. Yeah. She didn't drink herself to death. Yeah. Like, she just was bored, and this is just the way the cookie crumbled. Right. Like, I hate it. Yeah. I hate it. And I hope I can make a small little difference.
Weird thing, you may not have known this. I met Hallie shortly before we got involved with that, and it had nothing to do. I don't even know if Hallie's Heroes was a thing yet. I think it was called Love or something to that effect. I was working a part-time on this block.
She have a heart on her shirt?
Yes.
It was a wish with wings.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They had given me like a Yeti cup that said...
with a little butterfly that says love on it. With the L is that's a wish with wings. Okay. So they are awesome too. They are the local DFW version of a wish with wings. I mean, I'm sorry, like the wish granters. Yeah. Only better. They're like amazing. Okay. So they grant these kids wishes, and then the wish ladies is what we call them. They keep in touch with these families, and they continue to do things. Like, they just took Hallie and her family to the Ranger game. And nice. It's not just like a one and done thing. Like, they adopt these families and really try to take care of them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah. So I met Hallie that way, and it was like a block event, like in this neighborhood. Yeah. And so I filled in for somebody, and then she ended up seeing me and pulled me into this house and was like telling me all about what they got going on. And then she goes fully into her disease, and she's a talker.
She is so smart.
Yeah, and she just went down that rabbit hole. Well, fast forward, it was very impactful to me about her situation and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a way of keeping in contact or anything like that. And then the next thing I know,
Well, it would be weird if you were like, hey, if
Yeah.
Hallie wants to play with me, you can text me.
I really like your little daughter.
You'd be.
Yeah, creeper.
Yeah.
So, but it was odd, we go to the thing and I'm trying to figure out, I know the name. I couldn't figure out why I knew it.
Yeah.
And I'm like putting two and two together. I'm like, holy shit, I already kind of.
For your listeners, Eric was actually in a music video with us, and I'm going to actor scene. We both have
IMDb's. Yeah. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Shout out, homie. He gave us like our own like actor profiles.
He did mine as like, I was joking with him on social media. I'm like, so since I'm like a professional actor now, which by the way, I had like 5 seconds on this scene and I didn't talk. I looked at a watch. We copied a Pink video.
The photos are amazing.
They were great.
They're scene for scene exactly like Pink's video.
Yeah, the Alice in Wonderland style.
It's awesome.
Yeah, what was the song?
You should put it Just Like Fire.
Just Like Fire. That's right. Yeah,
I can put that on. The first one was Shake It Off.
That's right. I'll let Chris post that. I'll let him share it on the site because he's the mastermind behind putting all that together. So
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a friend that's a director, and he directed.
He was on. He did an episode. His episode's the second best episode I've got.
He created a video. Did y'all talk about it?
A little.
Yeah.
We didn't get deep into it. Just because it was a totally different topic and stuff like that. And
well,
I knew we were.
We should link it.
Yeah,
Chris
for sure.
should link it.
Chris should link it because you know how some things go viral later, well after they.
Oh, come on with it! I wish it would. That way, Hallie could go talk.
Yeah,
that'd
be a good one.
She's such a good little interviewer.
Yeah,
you don't even have to prep her. Like people, like we've had the news media come and be like, "Want to interview Hallie?" And her mom's like, "Go," and she just. I mean, she's like a natural.
Yeah.
She needs her own little podcast.
She's like a stepbrother. I'm going to interview you now. This is my interview.
Yeah.
She'll
That's
get
Hallie.
going. It is.
She's like, let me tell you what you need to ask me about. Let's reframe that. Okay. Back it up. You're just like, what? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
She's awesome.
She is awesome. All right. Okay. So what's going on now with your life?
That's it.
That's it?
Oh.
Well,
I'm on standby. I'm retired until August the 3rd.
Okay.
And then I start physician assistant school.
That's what I was getting
to.
Yeah. So we've talked around this whole time that you retired. And
I retired.
You were going to school, but we haven't talked about what you're doing. So what is a physician's assistant? What are you going to do?
So physician assistant work for a physician and just an extension of their duty. So I can write prescriptions. What I really want to do, I don't want to jinx myself, but hopefully one day I want to work at the Children's Hospital and work with a pediatric surgery team because they use physician assistants. So yeah, I met a couple of really awesome physician assistants that had to do with Hallie's care. And when they left the room, I was just like, oh, I want that guy's job.
Really?
Like,
So that's what inspired it?
I've always kind of wanted to be a PA because of the Army.
Okay.
But it really lit a fire under me to be like, this specifically, I love it. Like,
so
I really want to work with kids.
Is that a doctor?
It's not a doctor.
What is it?
So you work under a doctor's license. So for example, the doctor, if he's a surgeon, right, he can say, okay, I have my license and then I'm going to hire 4 PAs to work for me. And they do the less complicated things for him.
Okay. So,
right?
I'm thinking nurse. So where is that at on a nurse level?
Nurse practitioner.
Okay.
So nurse practitioner and PA are kind of on the same level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know what my wife's going for. I think hers is called a BSN.
Yeah, she's going for her bachelor's in nursing, and then she could do, if she wanted to do it, it's a master's degree.
Yeah, she's getting a master's.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, like she's going for
good for her.
Hers thing is like she goes for the bachelor's, but she gets the master's level.
That's awesome.
It's all combined, and it's in a shorter period of time.
I love it.
So yeah.
Good for her.
So I don't know what that is.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll be mine's a 3-year program.
Okay.
So I already have a master's in criminal justice administration, and then I'll be getting some master's in.
You got your master's in CJ?
Uh-huh.
When did you do that and where?
A long time ago, 2013.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
from Charlton
that.
State.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did mine at TCU.
And then I went back and decided I wanted to be a doctor at the time and started knocking out prereqs. And then I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go PA.
So what made change your mind from PA to doctor, or doctor to PA? I should say?
There was a lot, actually. One being that when you go to be a physician, it's a huge time commitment. And I am quitting a well-paying career to go to school. So it's like, do you want to quit and not get paid for 30 months, or do you want to quit and not get paid for like 7-8 years?
Do you have any GI Bill left or anything?
I have my Hazelwood Act. So school's paid for.
Texas bastards.
I know.
Damn it.
Thank you, state of Texas. Yeah.
I think I technically qualify for that.
You better
Because when I signed up for the reserves, I signed up in Texas.
You should look.
I should. I don't need to go to school right now.
I know, but your wife could be using it.
What? Really?
Right?
I didn't know that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just your kids.
Oh, if she could use it, that'd be cool.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
I don't know. You have to Google it. I
All
probably just lied to you and got your hopes up for no reason.
That would be cool.
Maybe it's not like the GI Bill. Because the GI Bill your spouse can use, right?
Yeah, but I use the shit out of that. There ain't
Okay.
nothing.
Yeah, mine's going too.
Yeah.
They're like, bye, girl.
Yeah. TCU sucked all that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Private schools. So.
Yeah, I used all mine.
All right. Well, you know, nothing else do you want to plug or anything like that?
That's
before we
it,
go?
I think.
That's it. We're almost at 3 hours. So.
No way. Are we?
Yeah, I told you.
Oh my God. My watch says time to stand up.
It goes, I'm telling you, it flies.
That's crazy.
By.
It's almost 9 o'clock.
Yeah. We're at 2 hours and 40
Guys.
minutes.
So I would just say one more time, swab on Be the Match.
Be the Match.
And follow Hallie's Heroes.
Okay. All right. And what's
That's
your social media?
Officer Brandi with
That's
an I.
Not a Y.
Officer Brandi with an I.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well, I
right.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem. I'm going to hit what I think is my outro music.
Uh-oh.
That's it. Good job.